Lally-ho! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Den of the Bullfox. Tonight, we're giving Rasclin a little bit of a late birthday present. We've been talking about running our RPG over on Pirates of Geek Vortex for a while, but we decided we're going to go ahead and move it over to this channel, and we'll see how it runs out. So, without further ado, let's get the rest of the skulk in here and see how everybody is doing.
My sheep.
And how are we all doing, guys?
Doing okay.
Good.
It's been a day.
Okay. Alright, stream's looking good. Your cams still look fucked, but I don't know what the fuck to do about that right now.
Within the first 60 seconds, folks, a new record.
No, it's not. No, it's not. The first time you and
30
I
seconds.
ever streamed, it took us 5 minutes to get the stream right.
No, I mean to say fuck.
Oh, I say that in the first 12 seconds. What are you talking about?
Oh, well,
That was way less than 60 seconds.
true.
Those of you who have the Roll Dice with Friends room open, I was going to suggest you can set your character name in the upper left corner, so you might want to set it to your character's name.
I went ahead and set it to my Discord name, so that way it's a little more clear.
Yeah, same here.
To be honest, it would be easier for me if you make it your character's name,
Okay, well,
That's why.
because then I don't have to remember which Discord name goes with which character.
that's what we have parentheses for.
Yeah, if we're going to do that, I'll go ahead and put Rasclin after my character name.
Yeah, that would be
Decided.
fine, just
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
long as the
I will do the
character is
same.
in there somewhere.
Yes.
Alright, and then we were talking about keeping an eye on the complications.
Yeah, if you want to.
Where are we keeping complications?
In that they're going
Moving
to go
over.
in that Google sheet when there are some.
Okay.
Watch us fill that up fast, folks.
I'm debating if I want to just take advantage of the fact that Gas doesn't have a cam and put it in their slot, but I don't know.
Up to you.
Let's see how
It's
fast we fill it, and then we'll see if we need to.
Are we live, by the way?
Oh yeah, we're very live.
Oh yeah.
I've
Okay.
been monitoring the stream the entire time.
Just wasn't quite sure. So, who wants to explain what we're doing tonight?
I will go ahead and do that. Folks, about 11 days ago, it was my birthday. Things got derailed a little, though slightly back on track, as we decided we were going to finally take me up on my idea of running a tabletop game for game night, because my birthday was coincidentally the last Friday of the month. Juliet has gone ahead and stepped up and is running a game of Leverage. You should all be thankful, because if it had been me, it would have been Ravenloft Comedy. And everyone here knows I'm not joking.
That's true, you're not.
So the game is Leverage. If you've all watched the show, no, at this point, Juliet, maybe you should go ahead and pick up.
All right. Well, Leverage, if you have not seen the show, it was on, 10 to 15 years ago, and then there's a sequel show that's been streaming more recently. But it's about a group of thieves and con artists who band together and decide to use their powers for good to help people. And a lot of the fun comes in seeing them con people who thoroughly deserve to be conned. We weren't able to play on Rasclin's actual birthday, but what we did instead was we went through character creation, and then this is the follow-up session where we're going to have the actual game. Now, everyone except Gasgiant was at the original stream. Gasgiant and I got together separately to make another character, so we're going to have 4 in our team that are coming through tonight. and I thought it might be a good idea for everyone to start by introducing their characters. And Rasclin, since you're the birthday boy, maybe you should go first.
Martin Kale is an itinerant farmhand who self-taught himself hacking, as most of his jobs were at corporate areas full of lots of server rooms that were left mostly unguarded. He is the most unassuming, unstereotypical hacker you've probably ever met. Probably. I have to remember the 90s were a strange time.
We all remember that movie.
Let's go ahead and leave it there for me.
All right, who wants to go next?
I guess I will since I'm new here.
Okay.
Okay. So my character is Carlos Rojas. He was born and raised in Brooklyn, and he did a lot of petty crime as he was growing up, pickpocketing, stuff like that. But his mom really got on his ass and forced him to apply himself in school. He did so and then got a scholarship and then studied business. He got a job working for a brokerage firm, doing doing stuff on the stock market, and he came to the realization that, which is how he kind of learned how to be a bit of a grifter. He realized all he was doing was making rich assholes richer, and so he decided to take all the stuff he'd learned in this and apply it to do more Robin Hood-esque activities.
And one of the first things we're going to have to do is pick a third distinction for Carlos when we've gone through introductions.
Oh, yes.
All right, because the rest of us have to choose that distinction.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Olaf, do you want to go next?
All right. Moment here. Okay, so Richard Miller grew up in the streets, kind of similar, but wound up pulling scams for basically just to make ends meet, just to make sure that he didn't starve, to make sure that everything was cool with his family. Over time, he started to kind of get an understanding of it, and as he started getting an understanding, he started picking his targets more selectively, specifically the rich people that would come through. Anybody who was wealthy was his primary target. Specifically, just trying to make sure the people that typically, instead of renting the apartments, owned the apartments and were milking every penny they could out of the people that were renting. And that's kind of how he got his that's kind of how all of his stuff started. And basically kind of the same type thing as the other as the thief/grifters, taking money from the rich, spreading it around back in his home turf and stuff like that, and just scaled up as things went along.
Okay. So I guess that leaves me with Delaney Balgaire, who, born into middle class and realized he had a gift. He could manipulate people, pick pockets. He was just really good at it. And like any skill that you're really, really good at, eventually it got boring. So he decided to see just how far he could take it, ended up in prison several times, and then while he was there, he just realized, you know what? I don't know why I'm just sitting here and punishing myself like this, so maybe I can see if I can use these talents for good, and decided after a while, and if he was going to do it, why not give others the chance to do it? So he decided to put together a crew. We are really bad at intros, aren't we?
No, it's fine. But as you recall, one of the things that you do with your character is you come up with words and phrases that describe them. Those are your distinctions, and they may affect some of the dice you roll during play. And you pick 2 of them yourself. The rest of the group picks the third. So Carlos needs his third. Gas Giant, why don't you tell us a little more about Carlos, like what your other distinctions are and your signature asset and kind of your methods,
Okay. So
maybe your talents.
okay. So my character. So I'm primarily a thief, but also a grifter. Um, not so much a hitter or a mastermind hacker. I can do a little bit of. I am mostly but the thing is I took the pickpocket skill or talent from thief and slip of the tongue from grifter. So I like to talk my way in and out, into and out of situations, and I like to, get things from people when their attention is somewhere else. Um, as for my distinctions, I took modern day Robin Hood, which works into the reason. Part of the reason my guy's never been caught yet is all the money and all the stuff he's ever stolen, he doesn't have. It's all in the bank accounts of various charities, which nobody's looking at. And then also I've got smartest guy in the room. Um, as intelligence literally is my highest stat in this, and I prefer to use brains over brawn every time. And then my signature asset also helps me stay out of prison. I have a very forgettable face. I literally blend into a crowd.
So Carlos needs a third distinction to go with modern day Robin Hood and smartest guy in the room.
That's hard. That's a tough one. See, knowing him like we do, I don't know if Olaf would agree, but I think something like how do I want to phrase it? A class clown kind of distinction might be suitable for him.
I do like to joke a lot. I am very off the cuff.
Well, class clown would work well as a distinction if you think that would fit.
I mean, I like it, and it's probably going to go with stuff I'm going to do anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at all my, I mean, that actually fits pretty good because look at all my aliases. 3/4 of them are jokes. So,
Is there a place we can see your aliases, or are you just...
no, I can list a few. Like, I've got Jack White, Emmett Brown, Mark Green, Jean Grey, Auric Gold, Darren Mann, Darren Mann, which if you flip it, comes out to be Mandarin, and then Ronald Burgundy, which is my most obvious.
Nice.
This is why I said the class clown trait.
And when you say Jean Grey, I assume that's actually Jean Grey,
No,
or do you
Gene, as in
sometimes...
like the way Gene Hackman spells his name, or Gene
got it.
So
That kind of Jean.
yes, but it sounds the same, and no one else is gonna pick up on So, all right, I'll go with that class.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do we want to refresh the memories of our distinctions for anybody who may not have been at the last session?
Not a bad idea.
It would also help me too.
I think I'll go first. My distinctions are fun-loving, confident, and resting bitch face. And since we made it to where every distinction can be double-edged, they can be both positive and negative. Fun-loving, so I'm very laid back, very easygoing, and I like to joke around, but at times I do have problems taking things seriously. Confident, I'm very self-assured. I'm very I can blend in and make sure that, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm supposed to be here, but at times it can run into cockiness. And then the resting bitch face, it is handy because I don't give a lot away with facial expressions, but sometimes I forget, hey, my neutral face looks very irritated and very scary. So when I'm talking to allies, it may come across as me being hostile or not caring about them.
Or maybe if you had to deal with children, for example.
All right,
Okay,
who wants to go
go
next?
next?
I guess I will. Okay, so my distinctions are youthful appearance, looks young and innocent, beneficial that most people don't think that he's going to be as tricky as he is. He's not probably not going to know all the scams and stuff like that, but it can work against him as far as being accepted as kind of the old guard for as far as like the having being taken in as far as like high businesses, banking, and stuff like that. Fast book learner. He can pick things up from reading, which is great for understanding the basics and understanding some of the public facing stuff. Problem is, of course, not everything is published, so it's there's going to be things that you just can't know by reading like web pages and stuff like that. And his third one is independent. He prefers to work alone. So, if he's cut off from the group and he's just has to do his own thing, he's fine with that. The problem being, sometimes he will just be like, hey, I need to focus on what I'm doing and, stuff like that. So I'm not going to communicate. I'm going to turn off my communication device and just pull out the earplug and just so anything that happens while he's got that out, he has no clue about.
And on the subject of communication devices, we're going to assume that you have something like they use in the show, where they all have little earbuds that keep them in constant contact with each other unless they specifically take them out.
Okay.
Solves the problem of how you can coordinate over multiple locations.
Yeah.
Which could be fun if we decide to make this meta, and anytime you actually decide to pull that out, we just have you deafen yourself on Discord.
We can't do that. We can't do that because of the fact that how is our fixer going to be able to tell us what's going on?
Good point.
We'll figure out how to have fun.
I could
with
make
that.
random gestures.
Well, we do have a channel for the voice chat, so we can signal, hey, you can put your communicator back in now.
Yeah, but my thing is as far as if the fixer has to tell us what we're facing, what's going on in the area.
Yeah, if you get into a skill check.
I can't interact with anything in my area if I don't have contact with the fixer.
True.
Well, we'll figure that situation out when we come to it. So that leaves Rasclin. Would you like to go over your distinctions?
So I have, let's see here, unassuming hayseed. This means two things. I'm overlooked, but I'm also not quite taken seriously. So it's not too different from some of the distinctions we've seen so far. Rural familiarity. This is also a double-edged sword because you ask me how a small town works. Great. You ask me how Chicago works. What the hell's the L? Behind the curve. I know older technology. I'm not too familiar with modern stuff all the time. I'm not cutting edge, but I remember the tricks that others tend to forget. This extends presumably not to just hacking, but little things like, oh yeah, this is how you mess with an old rotary phone in a way that you can call outward without dialing.
All right. Well, I'd like to give you a quick refresher / rundown on the rules, and then we'll get into the actual scenario. This is a game of dice pools. So you will be attempting to roll as many dice as possible and as large dice as possible. You will be from the results that you roll, you'll be taking the two highest dice and adding them together. All the rolls are going to be contested, so what's usually going to happen is I, as the fixer, will roll first to set the difficulty of the task that you are trying to carry out, and then you will attempt to beat it, or as they say, raise the stakes. If you get into any physical fights, it's just a series of escalating attempts to raise the stakes. If this happens, we can go into more detail about the fight rules when the time comes. So you will typically, when you make your dice pool, you will be choosing an attribute and a roll, one die for each. As an example of how those work, if you take agility plus thief, that will enable you to scramble through an air duct or pick a pocket. If you take agility plus grifter, that would enable you to bluff your way through a conversation. Then you get additional dice based on the situation, any assets you can use, including your signature asset, any of your distinctions that apply, you can use those, and you choose whether they work for you or against you. Typically, you'd only be rolling one of your distinctions, not multiple ones in the same roll. So it's your choice whether it works for you or against you. If it works for you, you add a D8 to your roll. If it works against you, you can voluntarily choose to have it work against you, add a D4 to your hand, and take a plot point. You should each be starting with 2 plot points, and plot points are nice because they enable you to do things like add extra dice to your total, or set up a flashback if you want to have placed a useful tool on the spot ahead of time, for example. You could do that via flashback. So, when you roll a 1, this is kind of a key thing. It does not count toward your total. It cannot be added to your total, even with plot points. You do get a plot point. Anytime you roll a 1 and I, the fixer, choose to take it up to create a complication for you, you get a plot point at that point. So when you roll a 1, it will probably generate or step up a complication. The other thing I can do is take an existing complication and make it bigger by increasing the die size. And that's why rolling a 1 or rolling a D4 is risky, because it has, of course, a greater chance of rolling a 1. Now, when assembling the dice pool, I may suggest a combination for the attribute and the roll, as mentioned, for example, agility plus thief. But if you think that a different combination would work better, make me a case. Tell me how you're using intelligence plus thief instead of agility to pick that person's pocket. And if you can do a reasonable job of justifying it, I will probably say yes. Unless there are, very specific circumstances in play to where it wouldn't make sense. But the majority of time, it's all in how you approach the situation. So, also, if I roll a 1 when I'm setting the stakes, that's called an opportunity. I don't think any of you picked any talents that trigger from opportunities. Some of them do. But I am using a house rule that I don't even remember where I came across it now. If you check out the Google sheet right now, you can see the only thing on it is free luck D6. This is kind of an extra thing that I'm adding to the game. There is always the free luck die in play, and anyone can choose to roll it at any time. You just have to tell me what the lucky circumstance is that you're making use of. So you can add it to your hand and roll it as part of your pool. Anytime I roll a 1, the size of that free luck die is going up by 1. So the first time I roll a 1, it'll change from a d6 to a d8, then to a d10. Highest it goes is a d12, and after that, it just stays at d12. Now, assets and complications. Have any of you ever played Fate or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay, so they're pretty similar to the way they work in Fate. It's just assets are things that work in your favor. Complications are things that work against you. Assets may be tangible or intangible. It's just anything about the scene that's important enough for you to roll dice for. You can spend plot points to create assets for yourself. At any time, you can spend a plot point and create an asset that is worth a d6 that you can add to your dice pool. You can also create them through flashbacks, which again, like I said, you can do by setting up the thing where you can have gone back or gone to the scene ahead of time and set something up that works in your favor. The way flashbacks work, either you can encourage someone else to do the flashback by, for example, turning to them and saying, "Oh, I hope you planned for this," or something like that. If that happens, they can pay you the plot point and describe something they did previously that will make the current situation easier. Or you can set it up between just yourself and the fixer, which is me. In that case, you'll have to pay me a plot point, and you're going to have to roll for it. It won't be guaranteed to work out. So as an example, if somebody's pointing a gun at you and you want to say, "Hey, I want to spend a plot point to have unloaded that gun earlier today," you would give me the plot point, and then you would have to roll to see whether that still holds. If your roll doesn't meet the difficulty, then maybe the person discovered that their gun was unloaded and reloaded it. Oops. Complications last as long as they're relevant. They also may not happen immediately. I can choose to reserve a complication and drop it on you later. However, if you can find a way to turn a complication to your advantage, you can roll it as part of your pool instead of me rolling it against you. So, for an example, if you have the complication that the security guard has seen your character, that could be a problem if the security guard, like if you're trying to get past the guard, maybe they recognize you as at an inopportune moment. But if you want to use this to lure the guard away from the door so that someone else can get in, then you could roll that in your own favor. The last thing I'm going to tell you about is the special actions, notice actions, and face actions. And then we can get started. So notice actions are things you can do to create assets when you have no plot points. What this does, it works differently from a normal roll in that you set the difficulty rather than me. You're going to be, to do a notice action, you'll usually be rolling alertness plus whichever roll applies. So alertness plus thief, for example, to find holes in the security, or alertness plus grifter to find some kind of weak link in the personnel there that you can exploit to get what it is you need. You will then go ahead and roll to make your impression. To notice the thing. I will roll against you. You won't generate complications just from a notice action. On a failure, you just don't notice anything. If you succeed, you can gain an asset worth d6, and if you have a plot point, you can spend it to bank that and use it for the entire job. Otherwise, it lasts for the scene you're in. The other special action is a face action. This is usually grifter plus whatever whatever attribute reflects the approach you're taking. Again, you set the stakes, and I roll against you to see whether the person you are trying to impress is persuaded by your act. On a success, you create the impression you wish to convey, which will be a D6 asset. Again, if you have a plot point, you can spend it to bank that asset for the rest of the job. On a failure, you just don't make a strong impression. It's not like your cover's blown or anything. And like I said, if we come to combat or timed actions, I'll talk about those when we get to them, but they're kind of specialized situations, so they may or may not happen. We'll worry about them if and when they do. Once we get everything to the point where the end game is about ready to happen, then we will start the wrap-up flashbacks. That's another kind of specialized thing, but we'll talk about that when it happens. So, any questions about the rules, or should we just get going?
I'm all for getting going, personally.
I think
I'm
we're ready
gonna
to go.
All right, then.
I still had that one thing, but okay.
You have that one thing?
Yes.
Oh, the thing you wanted to talk about. Right. Do you want to, how do you usually do this? Because, do you want to talk about it before the game, or should we try and take a break in the middle and then you could tell the story then?
Any way you guys want to. I just wanted to get to it because, again, I thought it was amusing and particularly relevant to the game we're playing.
Well, I
Nope.
tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, why don't you do it now, and then we'll, be sure that we don't forget.
Okay. Well, so several years ago, I was at Comic-Con, and TNT had a leverage panel that they were doing and everything. They were handing out free T-shirts. There were 5 T-shirts in total, one for each of the archetypes. Okay, you were only supposed to get 1 T-shirt. Okay, and that was it. I wanted all 5. A couple of my friends wanted all 5. So I walked in, grabbed a T-shirt from a guy handing him out, then very surreptitiously pocketed that. And then the next guy up the row, who was also handing out T-shirts, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I didn't get one from the guy back there," and I got a T-shirt from him. And then I went around to every entrance and got more T-shirts. By the time I was done, I had utilized the skills of 3 out of the 5 archetypes and gotten myself not just 5 T-shirts for myself, but a total of 25 T-shirts, all 5 for me and my other 4 friends.
Nice.
Are we sure we
Damn.
have the right grifter?
Well, he is a grifter D8, so
My point being, I thought it was amusing, and I talk about it publicly now because the statute of limitations on anything like that has long since expired, and I don't think TNT cares about me snagging 24 extra T-shirts.
Well, I mean, also, I feel like anybody who was running the booth would just give you a bravo.
I think it's a principle at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it was a leverage booth. That's kind of the whole point.
Oh no, this wasn't the booth. This was at the event. So I was going around the event that was in a theater off-site from Comic-Con where they were holding the panel. So I was doing my thing, going back and forth, and then I just come over to my friends and I'm like, "Here you guys go." And I start pulling out T-shirts from under my shirt, from out of my bags, out of the pockets of my cargo pants. Just like, "Here you guys go. Here's some for you, and for you, and for you. There you go."
I mean, I stand by what I said. It was in the spirit.
So, yes.
most definitely.
I
All right.
really like that show, so.
Excellent.
And I showed it.
Yeah, for anyone listening who has not seen the show, absolutely check it out because it is loads of fun. So, are we ready to get going then?
I'm
I
ready.
think so.
Let's do this thing. I think, shall we assume, for the sake of expediency, that you folks know each other and have pulled a few jobs together by this point?
Sounds fair to me.
I'd say it
Makes
makes
sense,
sense.
Okay. Well, at this point, you find yourselves somewhere on the West Coast, and you are talking to some people who have heard about your particular skills and have come to seek out your help. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the setup with the client, and then I'm going to give you the basic information that your hacker sort of gets for free to learn about the situation. Anything beyond that, you'll want to use your own skills for. And I also want to stress to you that this game is very, very player driven. So it's not like if you have skills that you want to use, it is the onus is kind of on you to find a way to use them. For example, if you are built to seduce somebody, you kind of have to go find somebody to seduce. I will do what I can to play to your skills, but a lot of this and a lot of the skills of the characters, so this is very much in keeping with the genre, is about making openings for yourself. So just keep that in mind. But you are you're sitting in probably some sort of restaurant, coffee shop, reasonably busy so that you can talk without really being noticed. And you're talking to Chris Charlson and Chanda Chaudhary. They are a married couple in their mid-30s, and they are, or were until recently, the owners of CH4 Studios. They tell you that they met in art school where they were both interested in animation, and together they developed the idea of Captain Puffin, an engaging, if somewhat accident-prone bird in a pirate hat who sails around the world with his monkey first mate in search of treasure. Any of you who have like young relatives may possibly have heard of this show. It's had 2 seasons. They explained to you that they were able to make the show because they received backing from Vertex Studios. Now, Vertex is a multi-business conglomerate type of thing. They own everything from chemical companies to the popular online store Wonder Mart to sneaker manufacturers, just fingers in many, many pies. But a few years ago, they added an entertainment division, which is Vertex Studios. And it's been mostly churning out streaming content of unremarkable quality. And they've also invested in some smaller creators like the 2 that you are facing now. So Vertex gave them the backing to make Captain Puffin a reality. 2 seasons have come out so far. It's been a solid hit for children, received critical acclaim for its combination of engaging story and educational content. And the 2nd season was even nominated for a Children's and Family Emmy Award. And that may have been where the problem started. Because first, Vertex offered to buy the Captain Puffin IP from them. And then when they refused, Vertex conducted a surprise financial audit of CH4 Studios. And mysteriously, the audit proved that Chris and Chanda had been misusing Vertex's money. And that meant that under the terms of their contract, their funding was immediately withdrawn, and any work completed up to then became the property of Vertex. So Chris and Chanda were locked out of their own studio. The Vertex rep took all of the hard drives with the nearly complete Season 3 back to the Vertex Studios HQ. They explain, we could sue, but that would take time, and in the meantime, Vertex will release Season 3 as their own production and get all the credit for it. We'll by the time this case could make its way through the courts, we'd have lost any momentum that we had on this show. And that's assuming that we even win the case. Vertex can afford lawyers that would run rings around us, I'm sure. So we all we want is to get our show back, get back the work that we've done, and be able to release our own Season 3 as we planned it. But right now we're blocked from doing so. So what you folks rather quickly realize you will need to do is you need to, A, get back the hard drives that have the completed work on Season 3, and B, you need to find some evidence that the charge of financial mismanagement is bogus. And this is where you put your hacker to work, finding some information about the people at Vertex Studios.
Now, am I going to start rolling then?
No, this is where I give you for free what you would get on a basic search, and anything after that, you guys will be rolling for. Okay.
Okay.
So you find that this probably comes down to the head of Vertex Studios. Her name is Heather Harper. She's about 50. She's been the head of Vertex Studios since the division was created about 10 years ago. And word has it that the big boss, the head of all of Vertex Enterprises, desperately wants an Emmy Award to give the studio some prestige, and he's been placing increasing pressure on her to make it happen. Over the years, she's approved several prestige projects that have all fizzled, and she's running short on time. You kind of suspect that she's probably under an ultimatum. Start showing some awards, or else, or else there will be changes made, TM. About her personally, she comes from a small town and worked her way up through the ranks relatively quickly. She also has a hobby of collecting antique jewelry. And that's what you were able to learn by digging into Heather Harper online. So at this point, one thing you have not been able to find out is where exactly the hard drives are being kept. You do know that you were able to pull up like an aerial view of Vertex Studios. It's like a compound. They seem to have very good security. There's an electrified fence. And like a checkpoint you have to go through to enter the compound. And there are 6 or 8 buildings there, in addition to the corporate office. The hard drives could be in any one of them. Now, if you feel you need further information, this would be a good chance to use some of your skills to find some things out. Or you can just start formulating a plan.
Well, my character would ask our hacker friend to get detailed pictures and see if he can get detailed pictures of the security guards that they have.
We're talking actual profile pictures, security badges, that kind of thing.
More uniforms. What are what kind of patches? What kind of colors? What are we looking at as far as their uniforms?
All right, so that's int is D10, hacker is D10. I assume that's a straightforward roll. I roll both.
Wait a second. I have to set the difficulty.
Okay.
Now, how would you go about finding this information through hacking?
I think this would be more of a. Actually, no, that would make sense. There would be file photos, possibly with local police, if they've had to deal with break-ins and such like that, or having to toss people out. Police and security guards are going to mingle. Security is going to show up on the cop cam.
All right, sounds good. So you are going to be hacking the police, in other words.
Can I make one suggestion though?
Shoot.
What might be easier is just try social media. People take selfies everywhere all the time. And you know how many times you might get security guards in the background of a selfie?
True. So that sounds less like a hacker and more like a.
That's something I can try. If it's not going to come up as a hacker thing, I can do it myself.
I was gonna say if it's not a hacker, that actually probably would be better if I did it.
Well, that depends.
Because that would be part of my.
Are we going to take our chances on social media, or do we want to just go the direct route and see if we can find their staff profiles?
Well, I would say both. See if our hacker can get like detailed photos of security in their uniforms, whether it's their ID pictures, corporate pictures, something like that that's on their servers that might not be on social media. I can search through the social media with my fast book learning.
Yeah, because
as far as what's there.
Yeah, companies throw events all the times where they're gonna show uniforms and such. Just hey, these are our employees.
Well, they'll show their employees. They very rarely show. They very rarely show security, especially detailed pictures.
So do we want? Do we want our hacker to take the first roll?
Yeah, let's.
All right.
Like I said, we'll wind up doing both. So.
All right, Juliet, am I just rolling 2d10?
No, like I said, let me roll.
Oh, sorry.
For the difficulty. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this an extra die for the fact that you're trying to catch accidental, from what I gather, accidental shots of the security, which means that they're not necessarily going to be posed at the perfect angle for you to get all the details.
Point.
So that's going to make it a little more difficult potentially. Okay. So you will need to beat a 14 in order to get all the details on the right down to the patches and the proper accoutrements.
Okay. I'm trying to think of any point of behind the curve that would come up here, but probably not beyond. Oh, hey, I know how to make a lanyard.
Yeah, and what are your other distinctions? Rural familiarity and unassuming hayseed?
Like that last one will come in handy if I'm actually in a security uniform, but the others wouldn't come up. Like I didn't make a distinction of, hey, I hung around security a lot at those farms. So I'm not going to suddenly try and retcon that onto myself now. So.
Well, even if you did, there are so many security companies.
Right. Okay, so I guess I'll roll 2d10 and try and beat a 14. Is that
Oh,
correct?
what about? Sorry, hang on. What about your signature asset?
Master of Castoffs. Ooh. I
Could that
dumpster
apply?
dive and find bits of an older uniform or something?
Why not?
I feel, yeah, at the very least, you could probably find a old name badge that was thrown away.
True. So that would be add a d6.
No, a D8 for your signature
Oh,
asset.
my bad. All right, d8.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good to roll then?
If there's nothing else you can think of, then yeah, go ahead.
First roll of the game.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay,
Damn.
looks like you have a 17. Not quite enough for a success with style, but yeah, you
A 7?
comb through and you find what you need to find.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
its
two
total's a
highest dice, not,
23.
not all three.
Oh, right. We only take the top two. Remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now he could make it a 23 if he spent a plot point, if
All right.
he needed that in order to beat me.
I mean, yeah, it's still a success. So
Yeah.
We'll keep the plot point for now. As tempting as that idea would be, I'm not sure how useful it would be long term. So
Keep the plot points for right now because remember with my Archangel skill, it might come in more handy to keep a bank of plot points.
All right. So you have details on security.
So let me see here. I was taking notes as you were saying. So you mentioned that just by aerial surveillance, we can see electric fences and checkpoints.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds incredibly military-esque for just a entertainment studio.
Not so much. A lot of studios in Hollywood have really tight security because you wouldn't believe the kind of people that'll try to get in there to steal a TV show set or a prop or you name it.
You mean like us?
Exactly us, but usually for their own personal edification
So
or to
I
sell on eBay.
think with electric fences and the name badges and checkpoints, I would go ahead and guess that they likely are going to have more than just key card entry. But I don't know if we can find that out without sending someone there. And we'd still need to make sure we have an in first.
Well, remember,
No,
there's four of you, so and one of you has a forgettable face, and another is an unassuming hayseed, and
one or two of us could go in, not play security, but play like I forget what they're called, like production assistants. And the guys that run and get coffee for everyone, no one pays attention to them. Everyone treats them like crap, and you're usual and you're often sent all over the place to get any number of things. So we'd be able to wander around
True.
and
And
just surreptitiously snap photos of security bits.
right. And if we
and I
wanted
believe the
to,
grifter has a disguise talent, don't you?
yeah, trust me. If you want to disguise, yeah,
right.
I can. Yeah, that's not a
Well, I was about
problem.
to say that's where our overlap comes in handy because we have two grifters, one of which who is also a thief.
Well, we have
And what?
one grifter primary and one grifter secondary.
And our grifter secondary. What talents did you pick?
I actually have so I made a couple of decisions. I have pickpocketing and Hawkeye, so I'm really good at scoping places out. And and if I need to snag something even on the fly, I can do it.
Okay.
So
All right.
do we
Well,
want to
I would
send
say.
Carlos in?
Well, it sounds like Carlos would be the best person to go in.
Well, I mean, I can see arguments either way. Carlos has the forgettable face, but on the other hand, if you go in disguise, you can guarantee that you're not blowing an identity. Either one would work. Up to you guys.
Oh, here's the question. With Master of Disguise, creating a disguise, is that only for me, or can I create a disguise for somebody else?
I will say you could create a disguise for someone else, but it would be a D6 asset.
I mean, that's
Okay.
Whereas if
I
you roll it
wouldn't
for
have.
yourself, you I probably get better dice.
Because the description, because I have the sheets up, the description of it says when you use the disguise, you add D6, and then the rest of that is dependent on whether you successfully fool someone. So yeah, I'd say it's up to our fixer if they will allow you to create someone else a disguise.
Well, I like flexibility, so make me a case on
Okay.
how you do it.
Well, number one, my character has a Master of Disguise. He's Grifter, but plus, if we do some dumpster diving, he has a signature asset of creating a costume from found items.
Oh, synergy.
So between my master of cast-offs and your...
I mean, just with that, if I use going lightly and saying use intelligence, which is D8, I'd have a D6, a D8, a D10, and a D8 for creating a disguise. That's if I'm just doing it for myself. If we take it down a little bit, even then, I've still got 4 different dice, the lowest of which is a D6. I mean, my character knows how to make a costume.
I'm liking this plan.
Works for me.
I say
Now
go
the
with
thing
it.
is, even if I burn I have a forgettable face, and even if I burn one of my aliases, I literally have like a dozen aliases.
Yeah, and there's nothing saying that I couldn't make a second uniform and go in on by myself later, adding that disguise for
Just
myself.
Send me in
You won't-
first, wait a half an hour, go in yourself.
Well, okay, hold on. Do we already have the cast-offs in order to make a replica uniform?
I don't think we're going for a security uniform. We're just trying to make one of us look like like a production assistant, which quite literally would just be like normal clothes. Right? It would be normal clothes. But the best clothes for this, mind you, is if you walk in any place with a clipboard and a polo shirt, 9 times out of 10, people will not even bother you. They won't even question why you're there. They see a guy walking through an area with a polo shirt and a clipboard, and they're like, that guy's got some business to do.
I buy it.
Well, let me ask you this: what is your? How are you planning to use this? What are you planning to do once you get in?
Like I said, my idea was to wander around, make it look like I'm doing errands for different productions and stuff like that. Like pretend I'm actually working there. But while I'm doing this, I'm going to surreptitiously pull out my phone and like take a and just take like pictures that like of like security doors, the key card scanners, if they have biometric readers for like thumbprints or eye scanners, any of that stuff, to see what they got. I'm not trying to get anything other than I want to scope the place out and get an on the ground feel for the security systems and the layout.
Okay, so if you are looking to scope out the security system, then yeah, you probably do want to send in the thief, whether alone or with someone else.
Okay, I agree sending the thief in by themselves, because you're not going to see more than one assistant running around. But I do want to make him a costume with specifics. So the costume isn't a security costume, but I do want to use my fast book learning to look up any what the code names are for the productions going on in the lot, and use my costume made from found items in order to pick up old carbon copies, stuff like that that we may that we can that might be found in like in a dumpster or something, or even shredded stuff, something that'll give us an idea of what their paperwork looks like to make his job just that much easier. So that if
Okay.
anybody looks at him and says, "Hey, what's on your clipboard?" he can actually show them, "Hey, I'm looking for, this production," and like how they have really awkward code names for different movies and TV shows and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like I could be like, "Hey, I'm looking for cephalopod. Where is that? They told me it was Studio 2B, but I can't. Where the hell is 2B? I see 3A over there. You know,
So do we
Yeah.
also want to reinforce that a little bit and maybe make fake business cards with one of our contact numbers? So if they decide to say, "Hey, I want to talk to your boss," we can head off that eventuality.
Well, what I would suggest for a thing like this is that you just go on in, and if it turns out that you're in a situation where you would want to be able to produce a business card, you can always create it with a flashback.
Works
I
for me.
think at the moment, simpler is better.
Well, now
And
what
we
what
can-
what do flashbacks entail? What do they cost?
A plot point.
I mean, if we're thinking of it now, it'd be better for us to roll it now and head off and save plot points for later.
Well, if you want the business card to be significant enough to roll dice for it, you're going to need to spend a plot point anyway. The only question
Yeah.
is whether you spend it now to create an asset or spend it later to create it as an asset in a flashback.
Well, I was talking more the paperwork the paperwork for the clipboard, not the business card.
Right. The paperwork for the clipboard, I guess, is part of the disguise.
Yeah.
yeah, it'd just be like, because it'd be a prop that I'm using as part of my disguise.
Yeah.
Something that's going to give him a little bit extra, a little something extra to help in if he needs to convince somebody that he's supposed to be there.
So, trying to think how to handle this. I do agree, having read The Master of Disguise Talent, it does look like it's mostly intended to be a disguise that you would use for yourself. How about this? You can use it for yourself automatically. We'll have you make a roll to construct a disguise for someone else that works.
Okay.
Partly because the whole point, I think part of the point of the extra die for using it yourself is like the boost that it gives you because you know how to use the disguise.
Okay.
So why don't you roll well, make me a case. What would you like to roll to create this disguise?
D10 from Grifter. D6 from Intelligence.
Okay.
I think it's, what is the signature asset add?
D8.
A D8 for using discarded stuff, and I think it's a D6 for the fast book learning, reading through like IMDb or something like that, or some of the like Variety or something. Okay, well they're working on this project which is codenamed this.
Okay, so if that's one of your distinctions, then you have the choice whether to roll a D8 or a D4. If you roll a D4, you get a plot point immediately.
I'll go ahead and roll a D4 because I've already got a D10, a D8, and a D6.
Okay, so
Okay.
are we going to count the intelligence with the? Because you're making a disguise for someone else, so do you know all his measurements and everything?
I'm here. He can
I
Well,
make
mean,
this is stuff that doesn't involve clothing. It's just
yeah.
props.
These are props to. These are making the props just that much more believable, rather than a bunch of random papers on a clipboard. Actual stuff that, if they glance at it, they're going to see, hey, this production. Okay, yeah, I know where they're making that product.
As far as clothing goes, like I said, I'm just gonna show up in a polo shirt.
Oh yeah, no, it's just we've been
That's super
we've been
nondescript.
spinning this around so much. I'm losing the plot
Yeah,
right now.
let's get to the rolling.
Okay.
So we're going to call this a face action because essentially you are trying to create a face action for someone else,
Okay.
which means you roll first.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Jesus. Wow.
All
well,
that
you get a
talk.
plot point for rolling the d4. Ironically enough, the d4 was your highest number there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to roll a standard 2d6 for the average. That's kind of the average bog standard. Okay. So, I rolled a 9 on 2d6. All this means is that you can still create the disguise, but it doesn't necessarily add a great deal. And you still get the
Okay.
plot point.
Okay. I'm gonna sit there and look at this as you do it. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna flip through the papers on here, and it's like, well, I'm glad you at least got this one on the back of the pile, because I think this has a coffee stain on it.
And if you want this to be something that you can use, you can still spend a plot point to create it as an actual asset. But since he didn't beat my roll, it won't be a free asset.
I gotcha.
Okay? So
Okay.
let's keep moving. So you get to the you get in there, try to blend in.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Take
walk
pictures of
around,
the
take pictures of stuff. Not
Okay.
but surreptitiously. I'm not sitting here just like, hey, selfie, selfie. I'm just like, I'll walk by something, and if I see it, like, ooh, that look might be important, I pull out my phone, make it look like I'm answering a text from somebody, and then I just like a quick turn to the side real quick, hit the phone thing, go, click, and then go back to center and be like, and act like I'm still sending a text message or something.
Okay.
Just quick sleight of hand.
It's a good thing we
So in
decided
order
on phone.
so in order to scope this out, I'd say you are using Thief plus, what do you think for the attribute?
I would say thief and intelligence, because I'm trying to go through here as like, I'm trying to be smart about it. I'm not trying to draw attention to myself. I'm not trying to be like super, I'm not being super, I don't know what, like I'm being as minimalistic as possible.
I
And
would make an argument you might use alertness, but I don't know what your D is on that.
it's a D8. It's only one less than in my intelligence, which is a D10.
Okay.
So
Hmm?
So, like, I want to try to do this as smartly as possible. If you're going to talk about agility, because of me doing like sleight of hand stuff with the phone, that's also a D10. So, like, it can go either way, but either way, I got some pretty decent dice here for
I
that.
think intelligence would probably be the strongest attribute. Because, like you said, not only do you want to do this smartly so you're not noticed, but also you want to make sure you're thinking of what do we really need so that way we don't end up with just a bunch of pictures and half of them are useless.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I only rolled a 7. You only have to beat a 7 to get a good picture of the security layout here.
Okay, so I'm gonna be rolling intelligence and my thief die.
Yes.
Okay, so that's 2d10s.
So you get in there. There's people running running back and forth. If you wish to use your disguise, like I said, you'd need to spend a plot point to make it relevant enough to roll a d6 for it. Otherwise,
No,
just don't worry
I
about
actually
it.
think I'm pretty good with what I did. I just rolled it with a 2d10 and I got a 16.
Okay, perfect. That is what is called a success with style, or an extraordinary success, because you beat it by more than 5.
Ooh.
So let's see. I think what I will do for that is we'll get you a free asset. Security system specs.
Okay.
That's a d6.
Okay. Cool. And that's gonna be in the we're gonna put that in the oh, I see where you typed it. Or where you are type or we're typing it.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
on the
Awesome. All right. In and out, no problem.
Now this, just keep in mind though, well, okay. Where would you have attempted to get into, for example, the executive building where the offices are?
So this would have been primarily around the studio, the offices, possibly if I could have swung it. Maybe I pretend I was bringing coffee to somebody.
Okay.
Um,
yeah. I'm going to say that with that disguise, you will not be able to get past the front desk of the main office. That if you want to try and get that security, it'll be a separate roll.
That will be a separate roll.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what?
And you'll have to tell me how you got past the main desk as a lowly production assistant.
As a lowly production assistant.
Because as a production assistant, you have no real need to talk to the head of Vertex Studios.
I don't. Well, okay, but what I might do is maybe not go into the building, but like, I just the same thing I had been doing. I want to get an idea of I'm gonna look at the front desk. I want to look at how many guards are in the front of the building. Is there an elevator, stairs, an escalator? Do they have, like what is the layout and stuff like that? So at least if I can't get in the building, I can at least get an idea of like, okay, at least here's the front door. If anyone else wants to come in, this is what they have to work with,
Yep.
before.
And that can be included in the security system specs asset.
Okay. Then that's about as much as I will do because, like I said, I don't want to push it at this point.
Okay. So, what is your next thing that you want to do? Remember, your goals are to find out where the hard drives are being kept and to gather some evidence that the audit was a phony.
Okay,
Ooh.
so the security system specs, that's just surface level, right? Like whether they have
What do you mean by
key
surface
cards
level?
or biometric, it's not like, oh, well, we have access to the network or we know the manufacturer.
I would say you could probably find the manufacturer, but you
Because
wouldn't.
that would be printed on the stuff itself. Like on the side of a key card thing reader, there usually is something that indicates who made it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that I think you would have.
Ooh. Okay.
Hey, anybody else seen Sneakers?
Okay.
Great
Quick
movie.
question. With the assets that we have that add to it, does our hacker's role to get the security uniform information, does that add anything to it? Like, we've got the security system specs that add a D6. Did we get anything from our hacker getting the security uniform details?
No, because he didn't beat it by more than 5.
Okay.
However, while you're snapping pictures, you could certainly snap some pictures of the guards as well, I'm sure.
Right, we could get
Yeah.
a more detailed look at the uniform.
Like purposeful pictures that I'm like, oh, this is, you know. So, yeah. But I do have another idea. If we want to get into the executive, like that area, what's the kind of person they're going to want to let in there? A potential, someone they're going to potentially work with, kind of like our clients, right? So what if we got a hold of, I don't know, the videos themselves would be the hard part, but would it be within the realm of possibility for us to, make a web page, make a like a YouTube page, for instance, and then have, and then we, like, I don't know, AI generate some random stuff, and and then have our hacker fudge the numbers, like the view count, how many likes we got, make it look like it was like what we posted was an overnight success, and then a couple of us pose as the creators of it, so that they want to talk to us, and therefore they invite us into the building.
That is
That's
certainly
not
a
a bad-
strategy.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah.
It's a bit of a turnaround from what we've been talking. It's a very different approach, but I like it.
Well, I mean, what we've been talking right now is, like we said, if we get into the compound itself, that's just the studios and the
True.
more public
just-
stuff. Yeah, everything we need is going to be in that executive building.
Yeah, so we know what's outside of it, and we have a good idea of how to get up to that point, but it's getting up to that point that's going to be the more difficult task, right? So if we can
Well,
get
you
in
don't.
there,
Yeah. You
No,
don't
I was gonna say-
actually know where the hard drives are being kept.
no, we don't. But if at least a couple of us can get in there, and either under the pretenses of some negotiations or something, we'll be led past places. We could take a look at things and see what we're dealing with before we ever go inside.
Right.
Before we ever attempt a little B&E.
And again,
Well-
if we get to talking to the right person, we can at least see, okay, well, who would have a record of that?
Or if we can't get in that way, I got another great idea. Our primary grifter can pose as a custodian. They go everywhere, and no one questions them. And they
I think they would, if we're talking, if we're talking where a lot of the dirty secrets are kept. Yeah, they're gonna keep track of who your average janitor is not gonna be going in there.
Well, no, you're not going to be going in there, but it would get you inside, and you'd get
Yeah, I
be able to see where things are.
see where the train of logic is that you'd be given access to the building, and you'd be able to look at these offices and be like, all right, this guy's the head of this department, this guy's in charge of this, see who's where. So that way, when we inevitably send someone in to pose as the showrunner, we know who we need to request face to face with.
I think the best way I would say to do this would be we need to run a 2-prong endeavor.
I was thinking that too. This needs to be a 2-person run this time.
Like we have our thief and our hacker go in, posing as, as the creators of this thing that they're kind of trying to pitch to the studio.
I don't know about
And
sending the thief in. Because if we're going to start talking about showrunners, we don't want a forgettable face in this one. I think
You
I'm
might
more
want
suited.
Or yeah, one of you guys might want to do it because
Well,
if they forget who I am,
I'm
that forgettable
yeah.
face can work against me.
Well, the reason I'm saying I'm more suited is because I have the chewing the scenery,
True.
which means when I pose as someone I'm not, I can include my grifter die to add to my mastermind, which means that I
So,
can push that confidence.
I mean, I will say that posing as a showrunner sounds like a prime grifter thing to do. Is there a particular reason why the grifter doesn't want to do it? Did you have something else in mind for yourself?
Yes, going in as security.
Got it.
And I want to send the hacker in because he's the innocent hayseed. He's gonna act like he's gonna act like he doesn't know the fact that he doesn't know how Hollywood productions work is going to benefit us, because they're going to think, oh, these guys don't know anything about anything. One of them is really acting up and really just really excited. The other one is just clueless. We can walk right over these guys. We don't need to be careful of what we say.
Got it. So if I can summarize, if I understand you right, your two prongs here are you're going to send the the mastermind and the hacker to tackle the mark and try to find out a way to get the information about the audit being bogus. And the grifter and the thief are going to be working on recovering the hard drives. Yes.
I don't know if the thief wants to come with me or not. That's up to the thief. You have to remember, my character also has independence, so he's going to be thinking, I can do this by myself. I don't need anybody else.
Well, if we're gonna do all this stuff, I mean, my guy used to work on Wall Street. I have a couple of suits. Instead of walking in as a production assistant this time, I could be the third prong of a trident here, and I could try to pass myself off as a instead of a production assistant, an executive assistant.
Well, let me ask you this: do you want to work on the getting the information about the audit, or on getting the information about the hard drives, or on getting the hard drives?
Probably on getting the hard drives, because of all the things that I could potentially ever do, that's the most likely thing that I'd be able to accomplish.
Okay.
At least unless they actually have physical paperwork that I can steal. That's the evidence is probably going to be on a computer somewhere.
Rasclin, are you good going with the production scam thing?
Yeah, I think I can maybe possibly help in pumping up the fake numbers, etc., with hacking skills. So, putting together what looks like a convincing backlog of work, etc. Does that make sense? Or
Yeah.
all
That's
right,
exactly the idea, I think.
very good.
I think in the interests of keeping the story moving, because I don't know how long your thing usually goes, but
until we pass out.
well, I do have work in the morning, so I don't want to go too late.
Yeah, exactly.
But also putting together a video and making it go viral just seems like that would be kind of child's play for a decent hacker. So I'm not going to make you roll for it. What I am going to ask you to do, and you can confer among yourselves about this, is tell me what kind of video you're putting together. What it is that you're going to do to try to snag the interest of Heather Harper here.
Well, that's what I was about to ask. Is
I'm thinking this is like eyebrow science fiction, the exact kind of thing that actually might win an award, like something like Interstellar, or like 2000, or like an older film like 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? Where it's like a really like it's like more of a cerebral sort of sci-fi thing, which if we've pumped the numbers on it, makes it even more enticing, because sci-fi is usually not um widely like commercially successful with wider audiences, if you know what I mean. So if we've already got the numbers and this is like possible Oscar bait, this might wet the whistle a little bit.
so what you're suggesting
give-
is that we've made Firefly.
Essentially, basically, I guess,
So give me the scene where Martin is at the computer and the rest of you are throwing in ideas.
There's got to be brown coats. I don't know what they're there for, but guys in brown coats. Everybody likes brown coats.
We definitely don't want this to be a child-friendly show.
I would argue that we do want it to be child friendly. That's what they bought from our clients. That's what they're in the market for.
Right, but they're looking for awards, so they don't want to oversaturate things.
There also has to be a scene. We also have to add a pithy scene that's almost a little bit of a musical about a local folk hero. Possibly a man named Jane.
Oh, the episodes are coming back. But okay,
We need meme bait. We need catchy one-liners that everyone is going to say in the weirdest situations. Something like killing people with their brains.
Or there's a special place in hell for people who diddle children and talk in movie theaters.
Yes, the special hell.
So is this a universe where Firefly doesn't exist and you're inventing it, or are you making the hacker clone Firefly?
A little column A, maybe a little column B, who knows?
Just don't forget the odd marketable piece of clothing. You have to have that.
Right. File the serial numbers off.
There also has to be at least one character that everybody loves, and we're going to kill them off.
And that actor will go on to do a ton of things, none of which make sense.
You kill them off when you get the movie, not during the series.
Well, that's right, because you want to make it as epic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Are we showing our resentment for a cancellation here in real life?
No, not at all.
And hey, if we want to make this less like Firefly and more weird geekdom that's controlling, don't forget we have multiple scripts for multiple movies, all of which are locked in notebooks, and we will not unlock until the producers give us this.
One of which, though, is about a very unflappable British man who is actually playing a Frenchman.
Yes.
All right, so you get the video up. And again, just in the interest of keeping this moving, you put it up on YouTube, you make it go viral overnight, and how do they know how to get hold of you?
Contact info in the description.
Yeah.
If you like our premise for our video, don't forget to click that link in the description in order to go to our website. We'll have contact information right there.
Also, is this like a CGI animated thing, or how are you making it look? How are you putting it together?
It'll have to be at least semi-animated because there's no way.
Well, yeah, let's let the hacker tell us, because this is kind of
Yeah.
technically his thing.
Works
As
for
an
me.
homage to good old TTS, I'm going to be taking drawings and twisting them to the point where it looks like a mouth moving. But it's mostly almost like, what were those 50s things where they would put real people's mouths inside drawings?
I don't
Similar to
know, but that sounds like
rotoscoping, but
I was about to
it's
say, you want to
similar to
rotoscope it?
Sure, why not? Give it a bit of retro feel and a bit of cheesiness.
So we're making Firefly
ranking
a la A Scanner Darkly
Rank-
with elements of Riddick.
Or I was gonna say it looks like a Rankin Bass movie.
Yeah.
Oh
A
Jesus!
Rankin Bass movie if Ralph Bakshi got hired on off season.
maybe you put in the notes that like this is your concept, but the actual show, if you could only get the backing, would
Would be live action or something.
yeah.
Right. We promise it won't be a Roald Dahl nightmare.
All right.
Maybe.
So, yeah, you give it a couple of days, and lo and behold, you get an email or something, or a phone call asking you to come to Vertex Studios and discuss the possibility of getting this show actually made, because clearly it's an exciting project. Fresh voice in science fiction and blah blah blah.
Okay, so I'm taking in our hacker.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are going in that way.
Okay. How are you presenting yourselves?
Rask, how are you presenting yourself?
As an underpaid, caffeine-ridden animator.
Okay, I can see it. Which pairs
I
well
see.
because, yeah, I think Delaney would definitely want to give off the impression that he's the showrunner, but he's competent and he knows what they want, and he's going to, try to give off that hard edge, no nonsense, we'll negotiate, but we won't take your shit kind of air.
Okay. So you are waved through the checkpoint in the morning, and you make your way to the office building, like the corporate headquarters. It's a couple of stories, very airy, open lobby with a pair of staircases leading up to the second floor, and you are taken to the corner office suite by a highly competent looking male personal assistant who introduces himself as Marshall Burke. He is the personal assistant to Heather Harper, and he says, "Oh, we were so excited. What are you calling this project, by the way?"
I have an idea. I'm not sure I want to put it out there.
Say it.
Farm Fresh Lederhosen.
Yeah, this thing you call Farm Fresh Lederhosen. I mean, strange title. Is it one of those anime type things? We might want to talk about changing that. Might have to workshop it a little with the focus groups, but the general premise is solid. It is so exciting, and we think this could be the next wave of science fiction. And he just sort of turns around and with a very stylish gesture presses his thumb to a touchpad to get you into the executive suite in the corner office there. Seems to be he leads you through plush carpet, lot of glass, dark wood, dark wood furniture, but sort of Scandinavian minimalist in style. And Heather Harper is there to greet you. She is got sort of frosted blonde hair. She's reasonably attractive for her age. And she says, "So, you are the creators of Farm Fresh Lederhosen."
Out of character, I now officially regret everything. Go on.
No, you can't possibly regret more than my first thought of steal his thumb.
And here
Not the
I was thinking you might
thumbprint.
call it lightning bug.
That's what I was thinking too.
I mean, I was going to point out the absurdity of Adult Swim. Robot Chicken.
Yeah, those have always been weird names.
Exactly, so, put in that lineup. Farm Fresh Lederhosen, it wouldn't stand out.
I hate our timeline. It is stupid. Move on.
Yes, well, we may want to workshop that title, but definitely an intriguing concept you've come up with. Can I offer you some coffee?
I think
Marshall, bring them some coffee.
I'll take some coffee, yeah.
I do a practiced visible twitch because someone mentioned caffeine. Go on.
So there's like a super fancy coffee maker in a corner of the room, and Marshall's like, "Here's your coffee." So, tell us all about how you came up with the idea. She says, "Marshall, sorry, I'll let you ask." Marshall, if this is not coming across, is very gay. For what that's worth.
Yeah. I figured either that or a cuck.
No, he's looking you up and down.
Do I leave the overly caffeinated and quite strung out animator to try and pitch this, or do I direct him towards Marshall?
At some point we can turn this into a honeypot.
We could, depending on which one of us Marshall goes for.
Well, remember, a lot of that is under your control. That's what grifters do.
Indeed. I just have to decide, is Marshall the type of guy who wants to get out of being just a PA?
You could also try to turn your charm on Heather. She is probably not impervious.
I do want to start working Heather first. Just when she asks, "Hey, how'd you come up with the show?" And it just came to me one day. I don't know, bolt of lightning out of the blue, and I happen to know of this guy over here, and he was looking for something to do. He needed a job, and I graciously said, "Hey, why don't you work on this project with me?" Really building up that self-centeredness.
So you're the real genius behind it. And at this point, Heather just starts ignoring Martin. Meaning that, Martin, you are free to, Heather's attention is not on you. Meaning you are free to do anything without being noticed that you might wish.
Okay. So see here. Thank the gods I do have an agility, but I'm not a thief. However, I do have, let's see here.
You have an excuse to be over by the coffee machine.
I should say we're going to get this scene to a stopping point, and then we're going to go see what the others are doing.
Alertness and hacker, I'm trying to figure out exactly where in the room she would have something stored.
Okay, so there is, it all depends on whether you're looking for computer files or physical objects. There's a large, large painting on the wall that very likely hides a safe. She also has a desk with some deep drawers that could have file folders or something similar in them.
And one more thing I might do while everyone looks away long enough, is there anywhere I can easily, without being, okay, easily might be a stretch, I can put in a USB drive and a little port that no one ever checks in this room?
If you work together with someone else to distract both Jennifer and Marshall, you probably could.
Excellent, because this is going to involve the classic I'm chasing the empty cup of coffee that is rolled over with a few precious drops left in it.
Yeah, speaking of the coffee, I just want to ask real quick. Are we using styrofoam or are they fancy and gave us mugs?
Oh, they are fancy and gave you mugs.
Good.
I'm definitely chasing my mug.
And it's
The
really
coffee-
good coffee too.
You know
The
what?
coffee tastes better with the ceramic glaze.
Hmm. I'm trying to think of
So-
a way to get Marshall out of the room.
Well, I tell you what, why don't you think about that, and then let's look in on the Grifter and Thief here, because they haven't had a chance to roll dice yet much.
Okay.
What are you guys doing while the others are meeting with Heather and Marshall?
Well, I think probably what I would wind up doing, I would suggest that we go in as he's with the thief being kind of a higher up, possibly somebody who is possibly kind of like a somebody who's here to make sure that everything is clean, that nothing's that nothing's left out, and I'm his personal escort from the security side of things.
Okay.
Ooh, you know what? I can wear my suit and I can pose as an auditor from the parent company.
Ooh, that could be.
And then if anyone questions me, it's like, "What's your name?" It's like the person at the front desk questions me, "What's your name, sweetie?" And like, let's just hope you have a job tomorrow.
Okay, and what is your goal? What are you looking for when you go in?
We are specifically kind of going. I think we're kind of going for the hard drive of the actual shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we're making we're checking up on their security because there are a few concerns. I need to escort this person in, make sure everything is secured, and make sure that your security's up to specs.
All right. So, one of the things I think you would have learned on your original reconnaissance mission is which building has the animation department in it.
Okay.
So you can, I assume you're going to want to focus on them.
That's going to be our first target, I think, because if they do, animation department's likely where they're going to head that and or the server room, because those are the two places they're likely to have something of this nature, I think.
Okay. Well, how do you want to go about finding out which place has it?
You know what? We just ask. We literally just tell security we're auditing the security systems and we need to ensure that that their most valuable some of their most valuable projects are currently are currently locked down tight enough, because we've received word that there is a credible threat on we received word that there's a credible threat on some of these projects.
Okay, sounds good. Let's
Let them
see.
tell us.
So you get there and you want to convince them to show you where they're keeping the hard drives. Is that your plan?
Yes. And then and we're gonna go and double check the security, make sure everything is kosher.
And we could actually use the security details that we have to say, okay, well, this we've had some concerns about the security products that we've gotten from this company or that company.
Yeah. It'll literally what we know about their security already will lend credence to us auditing their security. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are from the
I
parent
do.
company after all.
Okay, well, this sounds like Thief is going to be doing the rolling because you are posing as the auditor.
Okay.
Um, so that's going to be, you're going to be rolling Grifter.
Okay.
And this is kind of sounding like willpower to me. If you are trying to sort of put the fear in them. Could see,
That's not my best, but
I could
that
see vitality is another possibility.
vitality is a little bit better. And the thing is I'm gonna go in. I want to try to use my smartest guy in the room because I'm gonna go in. I'm the boss. I'm the one in charge here. You need to tell me what's going down, and I already like I know the business, right?
Okay.
So I want to see if that might apply. Like I'm going in and I'm like I'm really I'm leaning in hard. I want to
Sure, and you can decide whether to roll that as a D8 or a D4. I think you could also roll a D6 for the security system specs because you're going to be using that in your pitch.
yeah. I'm gonna play it smart. I'm gonna play it safe for now because I want to play it safe for now, and I am gonna go with the D8. I'm gonna go with the D8. Use the security system specs. So that's a D8, a
Yep.
D6.
Let me roll first to set the difficulty here.
Okay.
Let's
How do I
see.
get rid of dice? Because it still has my 2D10s up there.
Just click them. They
Okay.
toggle.
Gotcha.
I need to use the restroom a sec.
Okay, well, I just rolled a 1.
Yeah.
The free
All
luck
of me for
die
the restroom too.
bumps up to a D8.
Okay.
And you need to beat a 14 to convince them to show you where the hard drives are.
Okay. So I'm just double checking. So smartest guy in the room is a D. Is a D what?
That's your
I get a
choice, D8 or D4.
I'm going. Okay. So D8 with that. D6 because I
Security
am
system specs.
security system specs. A D8 because I am using vitality, and then another D8 because I think I have
Grifter.
because that's my grifter die. Okay. All right. I got a lot of D8s going here. Okay. Ooh.
Oh, you also roll a 1. Well, you
Oof.
so let's see. If you were to spend a plot point to pull in your third die, you could beat that 14 and get them to show
I'm
you.
going to.
Is there anything that I can do at this point to help as far as portraying a security guard to help smooth things over? Like seeing him struggling a bit, I can step in and say, "Hey, look, guys, we know that this is unexpected, but these are the protocols." He's not doing it by himself. He actually has what seems like one of their security guards with him.
Sure. There isn't exactly a help die in this system. So if he wanted to use you, and you don't have any particular talents that allow people to roll dice for you, do they? Do you? What about the mastermind? Didn't you have a talent that lets people roll extra dice?
I have Archangel, which would only work if he wanted to use an asset to run the story.
Got it. And he's already using the only asset that's in play.
Mhm.
So, if there's something that you would like to do to help as a security guard, we could make that a separate role, but I can't really think of any way to make it apply to this role that he just made.
Well, okay, I could just use, but I've got a plot point of my own. I can just use it and bring in the third die, and
Yes.
then I'll win, right?
Yes. You are still also going to get a complication, though. So you can spend the plot point you just got. In other words, you can just keep your total. I think you have 3 at the moment.
Yeah, I
So you
have.
would have just gotten a 4th one. You can just turn around and spend that one immediately to bring in the
Yeah.
third die.
That I'll just do that. It's the easiest thing I can, and I'll just basically I'm gonna brute force this.
Right. Okay. So as a, I think your complication is going to be they show you where the hard drives are being kept. They've got them in a secure location with a keypad, like a storage closet that has a keypad that that they need to use to enter, but you aren't able to get the combination.
Okay.
And they tell you that the combination changes daily.
Okay. All right. The combination changes daily. Um, and I'm trying to say, like, and I'm gonna inquire as to who has it. Like, is it just is just the security? Is it the security manager on site who has this information, or does
Oh
like
no.
every
Oh no.
Tom, Dick, and
Only the
Harry
head
have
of the nope, nope, only the head of the animation department has it. Security doesn't have it.
it? Okay. So only the head of the animation department.
Mhm.
Actually, that's information that should be easy for us to get because that would be public information.
No, knowing who is the head of the animation department, you mean?
Yes. If we wanted to use that information later, now that we know that that's the person who has the code, if we go about doing it that way, that person getting the code from them might be an easy enough thing to do because we could figure out who that person is at this point.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure you'll actually be meeting with that person as part of your audits. So
Okay. Then
now what I chose to do with this is I bumped up the difficulty of the keypad pad from a D6 to a D8. That's your complication.
okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so you have found the location of the hard drives and you know how they are protected and who knows the combination. You might want to be giving some thought to how you're going to go about getting that combination. But meanwhile, let's get back to Heather Harper's office, where the rest of you are trying to figure out a way to get rid of Marshall.
We chatted back and forth in Discord, Kayden and I, and we came up with something. I'm willing to
Okay?
spend the plot point myself to say we did this signal ahead of time.
Okay?
But basic trigger is that he will go that we almost call the series Shutterbugs. That's my cue to, look stressed and accidentally spill coffee on him.
And then, of
At
course,
which point,
yeah, when I get coffee spilled on me, that's when I step in and, do the stereotypical angry boss, you're so clumsy, what the hell? And I'm going to see if Marshall can leave the room to get some napkins or something, something to dry me off. But while I'm doing that, I want to see if I can, since the coffee was spilled on me, I also want that signal to have Rask hand me the mug, and I want to see if I can grab some tape or something and try and lift his thumbprint off the handle so that we have that.
Ooh, okay. Well, first of all, Rasclin, so you spend a plot point. We'll say that since you work this out between it, you can give that plot point to Kayden.
Okay, so Kayden goes up 1, I go down 1.
Yep.
All right, setting my plot points to 3.
So I think where we're going to be doing the roll then is to get the thumbprint here. That is definitely going to be agility.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that's going to be agility plus thief to get that.
Okay. So that will be my D8 and my D10. And I'm really hoping I pick these dice right. I'm just guessing here. All right, so am I rolling first?
No, I should roll first. To set the difficulty, and then you can figure out if any of your other attributes apply.
I'm thinking chewing the scenery might come in.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. I am. Oh, interesting. I rolled another 1, and you only need to beat a 6, probably because they are. Everybody is very distracted.
I'm gonna go ahead and add that chewing the scenery, so that'll be my primary roll. So that'll also be another D10 for Mastermind.
Mm-hmm. Free luck die is up to D10, by the way.
Okay, so I just rolled a 14. Highest die is 6.
Excellent. You succeed with style, so you get a perfect thumbprint off the mug, and nobody sees you do it.
In the meantime, I'm going to get a USB drive somewhere where it can be, easily tapped into later.
Okay?
Would that be agility plus hacker?
That would definitely be agility. I could see either hacker or thief.
I am definitely going hacker.
Okay, then. Any of your distinctions you want to use or assets?
Behind the curve, because I'm just looking for, what has the most dust?
Okay, sounds good.
That's a D8.
Yep, let me roll difficulty again. Oh my goodness.
How high?
All you have to do is beat a 3.
If I get 3 1s,
It could happen. And just to remind everybody, the free luck die is now up to D12.
so about what I just said,
You may want to grab the free luck die.
Oh no. I'm pretty sure he beat it. He just also got a complication.
True.
technically I have if we take the 2 highest, I have a 5. But my
That is true.
God, 1, 2, 3.
Yes. I
Statistically
think.
speaking, you should have rolled higher.
Yep. Let's see. I think your complication there is going to be, bumbling idiot D6.
As
In other words,
everyone's... Go ahead.
you have made an impression as a bumbling idiot.
Okay, to be fair, yeah.
We were kind of going with that angle anyways, so that works.
And if you can find a way to turn that to your advantage, you can roll it.
Does that give me a plot point again?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'm back up to 2. Slowly coming back together. It's been a while since I played Leverage. So.
Now, what is the purpose of this thumb drive that you have just inserted in the computer?
Mostly, I'm just going to monitor her emails and phone calls.
So it's like a back door?
Pretty much.
Got it. All right. Back to the other team then. What is your next plan of attack?
Well, I guess we're supposed to be meeting with the animation head, right?
Well, I was kind of assuming you were already talking to the animation head as part of your security audit.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, but that was we were kind of the person that we were talking with told us that we needed. Well, the only person that has it is the head of the animation, and you'll not need to talk to them next.
Oh, true. Okay.
Yeah, so I thought that was going to be with the next scene. So
Got it.
that
Okay,
was fine.
well, then let's move on to that.
Okay.
Do you want to make any change in your approach? Are you still going to be posing as the auditors, or do you want to switch to different personas?
You know what? I think the auditor is still good. I think we haven't screwed that up bad enough to change yet. Unless Ollamh has a different idea.
No, hey, if it's still working, it's still working.
Now,
Okay.
is the head of animation going out there to meet them, or are they going to his office?
They'd be going to his office. He'd be in the building. And his
Okay.
name is Raymond Lang.
Raymond Lang. Okay.
Mhm.
Let me go ahead and write that down, or else I'm gonna forget. I'm like that with names.
Don't worry, I'm also doing it.
Okay, cool. All right then. Yeah. So I wanna. So I guess we're gonna talk to Raymond Lang, and So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and talk to him. We're gonna come in. I'm not gonna go as hard with him as I did with security, because I want to take, like, this guy's an executive, and usually executives don't take like they don't usually take the hard push quite as
Mhm.
readily as somebody, in a lower ranking position. So I
Right.
want to try to deal with him a little more cautiously, or with finesse. I want to
Okay.
deal with him with finesse.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say,
Well,
hey, listen. I'm gonna be like, hey, listen. I got a pretty good idea that you guys are running a pretty tight ship here. However, my bosses and your bosses say I got to do this, right? So let's sit down, have a chat. You're gonna tell me how this operates. All that stuff, and maybe see if I might be able to get um a security code out of him, or even get him to demonstrate the security code system for us. You know what I mean?
mhm. Well, that would probably be easier than convincing him to tell you the day's code.
Yeah.
Um,
But just, like, have him show it to us. Like, hey, I need to see how the system operates. You're the only one who has the code. If I need to tell my bosses and your bosses
Right, so
that everything is safe
you're
down here.
seeing, like, is it an RGN? Does he set the code manually?
Yeah. And
okay.
and all that stuff. So that's what I want to do. That's how I want to go about this.
All right. So he's going to be, let's see, he is professional but annoyed because this is interrupting his day and it's not the sort of thing he particularly cares about. So you'll need to beat a 9.
A 9. Okay. So
To
I am
persuade him.
still okay. So this is still Grifter, right?
Yes, because
Okay.
you're persuading him.
Since I'm trying to do this with finesse, can I use I guess social agility?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I
that,
am gonna. This is a total pivot, and this is like, and I'm trying to really, you know, trying to sweet talk him.
sure.
Okay, so that's a D10 and a D8. And you know what? Yeah, D10 and D8. I was thinking of probably trying to joke with him and use my class clown a little bit, but I also want to come off as professional, and that's not really going to scream professional.
So you want to
Uh,
use a D4 for that? Is that what you're saying?
no. I was just thinking maybe I was thinking about it, but I was speaking out loud. I don't think I'm going to end up doing that because I don't think it would help me even in the slightest.
Okay.
So I got a D10 and a D8. Okay, and I only have to beat a 9.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's hope for it.
10. All right. So you do persuade him to go and show you how the keypad works. What are you hoping to get out of this?
Well, I want to know. Well, one, I want to see. I want to see if I catch today's code, because if I do catch today's code, I might be able to come in later tonight and just slip in, boop boop boop, and pull the hard drives out myself.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can't do that, if I can't act on this information right away, at least I know I'm gonna find out how the keypad, like the code is generated, and like, oh, is it like the kind of thing where you gotta press like pound, yada 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 yada, the numbers and then star, or is it like what kind of keypad is it? How does it work? How does it operate? How the code generated? That kind of thing.
All
Something funny
right.
over there,
We're
Olaf?
gonna
My character's actually going to step forward
okay.
and going to step into the room and start looking around the room to see what kind of security measures that they have there and stuff like that.
When you say into the room, which room are you talking about?
The room where they're keeping the hard drive.
Okay.
And really leaning into the disguise and the mental agility, he's basically going to try and get a little bit of alone time in that room.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that the auditor can keep the guy talking enough to give you some time. To see if you can catch the code, I'm going to call that alertness plus, we'll say thief because it's security. But you're going to be rolling against this guy's professionalism.
D8. Okay, so a D8 and a D10.
Yeah, you go first because this is a notice action.
Oof. Okay, it's only a 7.
Okay.
Ouch.
So I just don't get the code.
Nope, you don't get the code. But you can keep him chatting while your accomplice wanders into the room. So you are alone in the room. You can see the hard drives. They're actually labeled. They're on a shelf that's labeled Captain Puffin. So you know which ones they are. What else do you want to do in there?
Oh boy. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to explain what I want to do. Now, just as clarification, are the clients wanting all of them? Are they wanting the unreleased one?
Well, probably all of them because they're probably
They want all of them.
Yeah, because they can't just they don't want to just get the latest season. They want all the IP back.
Yeah.
Okay. What type of hard drives are we looking at here? Are we talking like solid state USB drives? Are we talking clunky ass things? How advanced is their tech?
Right, that's a good question. I was picturing the ones that are about yay big and roughly so thick, and there's about 6 of them.
Okay, because okay.
I'm trying
What
not to
is it
think ahead of
to?
you.
What is it? What is it to? What do we need to do in order to get for a prep flashback?
Oh, okay. Well, there's a couple of ways you could do it. If you want to hand the flashback to one of the other PCs, you can say something like, "Oh, what did you give me that makes this easier?" and hand them a plot point. If you want it to be something you did on your own, then you would give me the plot point, and then you'd need to roll to see if it happens successfully.
Do you have your
Okay.
earpiece in?
I do have an
We are
idea, though.
assuming you all have your earpieces in, unless you say otherwise.
I do have an idea.
As my character goes in, he takes it out. He's going off book. Like
Okay.
nobody
Okay.
expected him to go into the room at all. So he's like, nope, fuck this. All right.
Okay.
So I will go ahead and expend a plot point.
Okay.
To have basically so that I'm carrying a kind of like a security briefcase, like one of the heavy duty security briefcases that you would have for
Oh, the attaché cases?
yeah, kind of, but like really something that goes with the uniform, something that looks meaty and official and high security.
Okay. And what do you want to do with it?
I
I'm
already
gonna
know
put the
where
hard
he's going
drives
with
in.
this.
Like, while the others are standing there.
They're outside the room. I'm in there all by myself.
Okay.
Important question. Are you only taking the hard drives or are you replacing them?
Well, so that was my idea, is we should have some replacement hard drives, and we should have some replacement hard drives that still say Captain Puffin on them, but they are all hardcore pornography. So when
Well,
they try
that may be your
when they
idea,
try to
but your grifter's gone independent, so I think planning is out the window here.
Yeah.
Well, how many points do you have?
That's a point. You could.
We could do a combined flashback
Mm-hmm.
where apart
gonna say
from the
our-
other two, we're like, hey, let's just in case we can pull this off, let's just grab the fucking things.
Can I give a point to our hacker to have him produce for me the faked hard drives
Sure. Give a point.
that I've already slipped into his
Okay.
shenanigans.
Here's the thing. Give a point to the hacker, and then give me the scene between you guys, because we want to do a little role play here.
Okay, I'm gonna be like, hey, just in case we get the just in case we get this the opportunity to snag them right now, I need something to replace these with, just so they don't get suspicious if we have to come back for the rest of the evidence. That way they won't know we already have half the job done.
Okay, so Rasclin, did you increase your plot points?
Up to 2 last time, but
Well, you just got another one from Gasgiant.
so 3.
And that puts me down to 2.
And what is your reaction when asked for new hard drives?
I will probably. Oh gods, I would dumpster dive for hard drives, wouldn't I? Assuming I
Okay.
never-
So show us the scene of Martin dumpster diving for hard drives.
I'm at a different studio the night before entirely.
I like it.
And maybe there's this little back and forth between us. I go with you to go do it, and I'm standing outside the dumpsters like, is this really how we do this? I thought we just went to like a Best Buy and picked up some of these things.
Yeah, that's traceable. This isn't.
Oh, and maybe and you pull out this one and you say, "Oh, Space Vixens of Venus."
I was honestly about to go there saying, I didn't say what kind of studio we were hitting.
Which is exactly what I wanted anyway.
Meanwhile, I'm just over
Okay,
here like,
it's
how the
good
hell
to
did
see
we
that
know
you're
how many
all-
we needed?
We are the We are horrible people. Excellent. Onwards.
You have to remember, Kayden. Our clients know how many hard drives there were.
True, true.
Yeah.
Our clients know all of this information. So yeah, that's freebie information that we can
Hey,
get from them.
I'm over here with coffee spilled on me. I'm not thinking about what the clients told us. I don't even know you're doing this,
Okay.
remember?
So I will be getting back to you guys in just a moment, but I want to resolve this attempt to swap out the hard drives here. I'm good. This is going to be, wow, this is something that doesn't come up very often in games I run. We are going to be having a timed action here.
I have talents related to timed actions.
And you're not there.
Damn.
And also,
Unless it
only one of
allows
them
you
is in
to
voice contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's what you're going to need. You are going to need 3 beats to swap out the hard drives. 1 to cover getting the old the new drives out of your pack. 1 to change places on the shelf, and 1 to put the original drives into the pack.
Okay.
However, I'm going to give you 1 beat for free, but the thief is going to have to keep the head of animation, Raymond, distracted for 2 more beats while you make the switch.
Okay.
I feel like we've put the wrong person in the cage.
It's
Like, we should
hilarious.
have the roles
thief is
reversed
doing all the
here.
grifting, and the grifter is doing all the thieving. I don't know how this happened.
I know, this was...
Well, see, anything that I have to roll for as far as that goes towards 3-card Monty.
True.
Plus, if he questions me, I can still use my disguise and my independence to, and like I said, the mental and social agility. So I'm good if he questions me. I have some roles that I can do to bully my way through.
Okay. So I'm just so I'm gonna just I'm basically gonna just keep bullshitting this guy for especially as I see I'm looking into the room, and all of a sudden I just see him, like, the earbuds out, he's going, and he just starts like looting the shelf, and I'm like, oh god. So I just and then I'm like, so yeah, so corporate's telling me yada yada yada, and I'm like, I don't want to waste his time, I don't want to waste your time, but look, I got a job to do. Okay. On that, I'm just gonna keep stretching this out as much as I can.
All right, let me roll for the difficulty here.
Okay.
Oh, there's another 1. But remember, the luck die is out there, and it is a D12 at this point. You're going to have to
Okay.
beat a 10.
Okay. Gotta beat a 10.
So
All
the
right.
first part of it was free. We'll say that inside the room there, you've got the case open. The replacement drives are out,
Okay.
and then this is happening while you are swapping the drives on the shelf.
Okay. Yeah. Then so I guess I'm same role I was doing before.
Agility.
Yeah, grifter and agility.
You could use either agility or vitality would also work. To sort of be that, hey, look at me.
Gotcha. I'm still gonna go agility because my agility is slightly better than my vitality, ever so
Fair.
slightly.
What kind of distinctions do you have?
My distinctions? Oh, well, like I said, I have class clown, smartest guy in the room. Ooh, if it gets desperate, I'm gonna be like, you know what? You know what? I might hit class clown.
I
You know,
would
I'm
go
gonna be
with
like,
Class Clown, because this dude is stressed out. He's
and
already
I'll be like,
pissed
hey,
off your...
yeah, I'm gonna basically, I'm gonna try to de-escalate the situation, and I'll be like, listen, okay, don't tell anybody about this, okay? Put Roy in accounting. the Roy, the head of accounting back at the corporate office, dude told me some funny shit, right? So there's this, you know, and I just tell, and I tell him one of the longest winded jokes I know, which is about a couple of cowboys, a bacon tree, and a ham bush.
Okay. And you're using class clown for this?
Class clown for this.
Okay.
Suddenly, the video we grabbed from that other dumpster sounds so much more relevant.
Okay, so that would get, so class clown would get me another D8, right?
Or D4, your choice.
Okay.
It depends on how pissed off you really want that dude to be.
Yeah, well, let's see what we get. A 5 and a 7.
Okay, well, you beat the 10, so you successfully keep him distracted while in the vault there.
The vault with no security cameras, apparently.
Yes.
They don't want video proof of what they're doing.
No, I'm just
This
sitting
is
here
not
like, oh my
legal
god,
stuff.
this is an incredibly easy job so far.
So Richard is pulling the Captain Puffin discs off the shelf and sticking the Space Vixen discs, which have probably been relabeled Captain Puffin by this point. I think you said you
Yes.
wanted to do that.
Yes.
Back onto the shelf. And
Ooh,
then,
you know what? Here's a
Yes?
question. Can we swap the labels? So the old labels that were on the hard drives are swapped.
Right, so that way if anybody checks the case, it still says Space Vixens on the replacement, on the
Yeah.
original drives.
that would take you an extra beat. But I thought you said that you wanted to have them pre-labeled Captain Puffin when you came in anyway.
I don't know. That was
Well, we can
that was
have them
Gas's
labeled.
thing. So
We could have them pre-labeled Captain Puffin, and then we have replacement Space Vixen labels that we can attach like later if someone decides to look in your case.
no, we're okay. We're okay. We're
I was about
okay.
to say, if you got the
Yeah,
case,
if they're pre-labeled, we're fine.
yeah, if you got the case
Never mind,
this
yeah.
far, I doubt they're gonna suddenly want to check it.
Yeah.
If it does happen, you can always make another flashback to have had Space Vixen
Vixen
labels, I
labels.
guess. Okay, let's have Richard make one more roll to do all of this without being seen or heard.
Okay.
So I think I'd call that agility.
Okay. And I'm using I'm using the grifter ability for wanna buy a watch.
And what does that one do?
Adds D8 to my roll. If the mark is savvy, then it's a D6 instead. But I'm not sure how savvy this guy would be as far as as far as knowing, like, you know, the idea of a 3-card Monty.
Well, at this point, you're not actually trying to con a mark. You're just trying
Yeah.
to swap some discs.
I was about to say, at this
Some hard
point, I think I don't think we should even factor in the mark, because if your thief is doing his job correctly, he doesn't even have this guy looking in the room. He has him looking the opposite direction.
True. But
So
also
I'd say you're
with
doing-
well, my question is with the 3-card Monty, yeah, it's a, you know, if the mark is savvy, but also that requires very specific hand movements as far as swapping swapping things around. Would that come into play there?
I believe the intent of 3-card well, let me look at it before I say anything. Because
While you guys are debating this, I'll be right back.
yes, sorry, and then we'll get back to you other
Yeah,
guys.
don't worry about it.
Actually, where is the 3-card Monty talent?
It's under want to buy a watch.
Ah, got it.
Basically, it's the, you know, hey, find the red
So-
queen, find the red queen, find the red queen.
Right, so it says when you pull a basic scam on someone, you add a D8. But right now, you're not pulling a scam.
Okay.
You are covertly swapping items. So I don't think this is going to come into play.
Okay. So let's see here. So agility
I was going to suggest agility plus thief.
plus thief. Okay.
Mhm.
And independent. Because
Definitely
I'm working
independent.
off I'm working off the off okay. So do I roll first or do you roll first?
I do. And the idea is to do this without being noticed. Okay, you need to beat a 10.
Okay. Trying to think if I want to use trying to think if there's anything I can do to help out with that. No, we'll go with it. Screw it. So I got a 7.
Okay, and even if you spend a plot point to get the third die in there, you're only going to equal the 10, not beat it.
Yeah.
So what that means, I think, is that you are not able to get all the discs quite fast enough. You're going to need an extra beat.
What happens? I mean, how would we resolve it if he notices me?
Well, I think you would have had to roll a 1 for him to notice you.
Okay.
But if he noticed you, then we would just, you could try to talk your way out of it. You could punch him. You could, you could do a lot of things.
Okay. So
It's really
he
up to you
hasn't
guys how you
noticed me yet,
react.
but it's taking longer than anticipated.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's a timed action. Which means that Carlos is going to have to come up with something else to buy you a little more time. But I feel like I've been neglecting the other guys for too long. So is the
Oh,
mastermind
cliffhanger.
back yet?
He is not. It doesn't look like.
All right, we'll stay on this scene a little bit longer then.
Okay.
Okay.
Carlos, what do you realize you have come to the end of your long story. The guy is getting getting impatient, and you realize that Richard is not finished swapping the discs yet. What tactic are you going to take to buy him a little more time?
Okay.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to let's see if I can do this here. I am, let me see here. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can. I'm gonna say, oh shit, and I am going to. I'm gonna be like, and I'm gonna go. And I'll be like, and then that's when the cowboy said, "I'm sorry, partner. It wasn't a bacon tree. It was a ambush." And I'm gonna start laughing maniacally at my own joke. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm gonna be like, and then I'm gonna start to like, oh god. As I'm laughing, it's gonna start turning into hyperventilating, and then I'm gonna roll my eyes back in my head, and I'm just gonna fall on the floor like I just passed the fuck out.
Wow, okay.
This is why you
Like,
should have switched the roles.
I think that's going to be a face action.
What exactly
So
is the
you
roll
roll
for
first.
epilepsy agility?
A face action, okay. Okay, so what do I gotta roll for a face action?
Well, definitely grifter, because you
I'm
are
still grifting.
trying to. Yes. Boy, but the attribute for that one,
I would say either intelligence or possibly vitality, because I'm making it look. I'm trying to fake being.
yeah, I would go with vitality in this one.
Okay, so that's 2d8s, and
Okay.
yeah, and okay. Well, that's all I got, because I don't think smartest guy in the room or class clown or modern day Robin Hood would get me anything for any of this. So, yeah, it's gonna be 2d8s.
Okay, roll it.
Right. Okay, that's not bad.
13, not bad.
13.
All right. Oh, and I rolled a couple of ones there. Definitely, yes. Your act goes over brilliantly. You get not just the head of animation, but you get a little cluster of other employees around you, trying to administer first aid to you and figure out what's wrong, giving Richard all the time he needs to finish swapping the discs and slip right out of the. You rolled so well and created such a distraction that Richard can not only finish swapping the discs but slide out of the room without anyone realizing he was even in there.
And then I'll just get up and go, and then I'll just, after it's over, I'll kind of act like I'm did and be like, okay, thanks everybody. No, I think, you know what? I forgot to have lunch today. I'm a little hypoglycemic right now.
Supposed to say, are we
you guys
diabetes?
have like,
Shit.
no, it's fake. You guys got a juice box or a bottle of water or something? I think I'll be fine.
Is your name Scott Malkison?
Hey, I want my juice box.
All right, and I can see Kayden is back, so let's go back to the other group at this point. Team B has succeeded in retrieving the hard drives. Team A has got a back door into Heather Harper's computer. Is there
And a
anything else you
thumbprint
guys
for
want
security.
to do? And a thumbprint for security, yes.
We were discussing, and me and Rask have agreed it's time for us to Three Stooges this shit and get the fuck gone.
Okay.
Because if we spend too much time here, things are going to get suspicious, and we've already bugged her computer. So we can monitor
Seems
what
like
we
you've
need.
done what you came to do.
Or at the very least, we've bugged her lines of communication.
Exactly. So, I say this is where, I just do the look, the coffee thing really killed the vibe. I'd love to talk more, but I really need to get home, get changed. I've got a couple more meetings after this, so it was lovely to meet you, but we need to leave.
Okay, so when you get back, what is your next course of action?
When we get back to our base of operations, they get back and I'm already sitting there and I'm still drinking the juice box.
I'm just going to notice that we have the hard drives and just kind of, give a look to Richard over there and just be like, really? Really?
I don't know if all have caught that.
No.
We were saying that since we have Three Stooged it and got the fuck out of here, we get back to the base, and we have Carlos drinking his juice box, rather self-pleased with himself, and then I'm just gonna give you a look, just like, really? Fucking really?
The opportunity was there. If they had caught me, I already had a plan in place for that. It was going to be, okay, well, congratulations, you caught us. I was testing not just your physical security, but the alertness of your people. I was just about to make the swap, but you came in before I could manage it.
Okay, you know what? I'm not angry at you. I'm disappointed. But half the job is done, so we at least don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so you have got half your objective accomplished, and you have some things set up for the other half. How are you going to go about proving that the audit was bogus and that your clients didn't actually misuse funds?
I'm sure they have emails or internal communications that we might be able to get a hold of with said backdoor.
Right, I think this is where our thief comes in again, and the bug
Well,
that
no,
we
you
just
want
put
the
on there.
hacker. Because if
Right,
the
right,
hacker
right.
could
Our
get this
hacker, our
completed,
hacker. That's what I meant. I
yeah,
just
I
said the
don't
wrong
even have to
thing.
go in. Yeah.
No, I was saying, yeah, we have the bug on her emails, so I think right now we're just monitoring until we see something suspicious pop up. Unless Rasclin has another idea, other than
I'm
watching
thinking.
Space Vixens.
As hilarious as it would be for them. No, let's.
Did you make copies of the Space Vixens hard drives before you sent them to
I was about to
the?
say, this is where I look at him. It's like, did we really need copies of this?
I need something to insert into a game later. I just say absent-mindedly.
Plus, we might need. Plus, these could come in handy for another job.
I don't
That
even
too.
want to know the job that you're thinking of that involves space pornography, but okay.
There's a lot of jobs. Most of them require a pretty good work ethic.
All right.
I like this discussion, how we're just all kind of like the family feud, just like, what the hell were you thinking? And why did you copy the hard drives?
Why not? Also, it's going to be the worst FMV game ever, and I am here for it. Mostly because I have to make it.
No, you know what? This is where I also take that opportunity to ask the question again. It's like, why didn't you let the thief do the thieving thing? Why did it have to be you?
Opportunity.
Because I was the one in uniform. If I get caught, I can bluff my way out.
Okay. Real quick, for when I do make a roll, we have a D8 is the bug in there.
Did we?
I thought we established. I could be wrong unless I'm remembering.
Oh
it
yeah,
wrong.
because we have the perfect thumbprint and the bug, but we never said if those give us bonus or not.
Well, since they weren't created with extraordinary successes and you didn't spend plot points on them, they're not things you roll dice for at this point, but you can still use them narratively.
Okay.
Okay, narratively, then I'll keep that. I do, however, have the talent. Can you hear me now? When you roll your hacker die in an action involving communications, wiretaps, radio, cell phones, intercepting emails, etc., add a D8 to your roll. Admittedly, I was trying for a fourth die to that roll,
Mm-hmm.
but 3 should do it.
I mean, I kind of
So-
like the fact that the perfect thumbprint was created on a amazing success, but I kind of like that it doesn't give us a modifier; it just is.
However, I think you could add the die for "Can you hear me now?" Because this is definitely communications.
Right, I was trying to add yet another die if
Yeah.
I'd had that as a.
Oh, got it. If you had it as an asset.
So here's the question: is what difficulty am I rolling against? Which I know you do first.
Right.
Noticeable by definition.
So in this case, because you have created the backdoor and everything, you're not rolling against the difficulty of the system. You are rolling against the discretion of the people involved to let incriminating things slip.
So it's a notice roll on my part, effectively.
Yes, but you can still use your hacker for it because you're doing it electronically.
Okay.
Now that said, that is going to be a fairly difficult roll.
Very good.
Well, it's going to involve some fairly large dice, I'll put it that way.
So I guess on my end, I've got alertness, D10, hacker, D10. Can you hear me now? D8.
Now, what are we
I'm
going for specifically? Are we going?
spotting something incriminating in the emails, I believe.
Okay, I wasn't
So
sure
we
if we
want-
were looking for something specifically incriminating in the emails, or trying to find out what their auditing firm was.
Well, let me know what it is you're going for because it may affect the difficulty.
Because if finding something that they're straight up saying, hey, did you cook the books properly, stuff like that, that's gonna be extremely hard to find in an email. But finding the company that they used for the audit would be easier.
And from there, if we have to hack that company, we will, but other than that,
Well, yeah, I mean, once we find the company, then we can look into it
But you
and
might,
see
in
if it's got
addition
any
to-
shadiness or if they're on payroll.
But in addition to emails, because large corporations don't just communicate through emails, they usually have like internal, like Slack channels where internal messaging occurs.
Sure, but he's got a back door to the computer, so.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just saying is not limit ourselves just to emails, but there
Right.
are
Yeah.
inter-company communications that can be monitored as well.
basically any communication she's doing that's not through her cell phone here, unless it goes back around somehow.
Okay.
So let me know when.
So, if you are just trying to find the name of the auditing company, I won't make you roll. Because your back door will take care of that.
We good with that, folks?
Well,
I mean, if we
can
if
get-
if we want to try for, we've got one. If we want to try for something better, we could.
Evidence,
But
of
we
payment.
have that as a fallback.
All right, evidence of a conflict of interest with the auditing company alone could do it. Once, so that I'd have to roll for. We get the name free. We gotta find this auditing company isn't on the up and up, and the communications backdoor channels prove it.
I think what I'm
Yeah.
going to do again, in the interest of keeping the story moving, is that you find the name of the auditing company, but it is clear that the auditing company was only operating on information given to them by Vertex.
So the screw job happened within Vertex. They didn't set the auditing company to like be a patsy or anything. It's literally an internal job.
Yes.
Okay.
I was about to say, a lot of this
Just
is
to
more
keep-
of a, are we making this a really quick one shot or do we want to stretch this out?
Well, this should be a one shot because we should be getting very close to the wrap up.
We seem to be, yes.
So yeah,
And I'm also going to say another thing that you get from the email is and this is from email, not from internal Slack stuff, is that you find out that Heather Harper is getting a lot of emails that she's being called in for a meeting with the big boss of Vertex in a few days, where she is going to have to give an accounting of what she is doing that is going to increase the success and prestige of Vertex Studios. So anything you can do to sabotage that will prevent her from abusing any further creators the way she did your clients.
I know. I don't know those fake backups of that we
Yeah, I'm
gave them.
pretty sure the hard drive's missing and replaced with presumably not softcore spaceborne is going to do a lot for tanking the prestige there.
It certainly will, but be thinking about other things you can do because that's going to come into the wrap-up flashbacks. However, I'm going to say you don't find a smoking gun on the computer. I mean, you definitely know that the information for the audit was provided by Vertex themselves, but you don't have the fake information just from the computer.
Which means it's got to exist. Unfortunately, that means it's got to exist in hard copy, probably in somebody's office.
Well, not necessarily, because the backup, as far as I understand, only extends to Heather's computer.
Yeah, but it's all we have access to all communications from involving her computer, which means it's unlikely that it's not going through her. It's very unlikely that somebody else is dealing with it and saying, "Hey, we're, don't talk to her about it."
I
So
don't
if I
there's
can-
Well,
no
she's getting a lot of pressure from corporate.
I'm pretty sure she's involved, but I'm thinking that she was probably smart enough not to keep digital copies of the fraudulent information in her
Yeah.
computer.
The way
but
I'm
there
thinking of it is, yeah, either that, where she's smart enough to be sending these communications off the network, or somebody above her is giving the orders and cutting her out of the chain.
Idea.
Hmm.
Does she do anything like communicate through that computer to set up things like spa days or something?
Sure.
We set her up with, go to her spa. We set up a replacement masseuse, strikes up a conversation, manages to get her to spill the beans offhandedly. We record.
That could be a good job for a grifter.
Yeah.
It is late in the night, so we may want to do this with a series of quick rolls. But that's your call, Juliet.
Well, maybe what we ought to do is move into the wrap-up flashback section, and you guys can be working towards getting the proof of wrongdoing when it came to the audit as part of that. I will also remind you that you have access, thanks to the thumbprint, to Heather Harper's office, and
I was going
a
to say
suspicion
I could
that
sneak
there
in
might
there.
be a safe in there.
When she has the spa day, I go in using the thumbprint. I can go
Okay.
in using the thumbprint and I can crack the safe while she's gone. And I guarantee you anything that's off book is probably going to be in that safe as opposed to just in a filing cabinet.
So a combination.
Okay.
Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
A combination of her quote unquote confessing on audio combined with the physical presence of what you find proves that we're not just planting things, or that someone didn't just plant things on her.
Yeah.
All right. So why don't we go ahead and talk about wrap-up flashbacks then?
Okay.
Because at least two of you have ideas on what you can do. Now, here's how this works. With the wrap-up flashback, each of you, except for the mastermind, is going to tell me something you did to help bring down the mark. And like I said, you've already got a couple of ideas here. You will be making a roll to see if it comes off. If you succeed in beating the stakes that I set, you will be giving the mastermind a D6 asset to use in the final roll-off against the mark. Once you have all done this, the mastermind will then tell us how you go about bringing the mark down, and you will roll all of your dice that come to bear and all of the assets that your crew have generated for you against the mark's own abilities. You've got the hard drive, so you will at least be able to help your clients with that. The only other question is, does the mark wriggle free of your vengeance? So, who would like to do the first wrap-up flashback?
Me.
Okay. What do you want to
I'm
do for
gonna
your
go-
wrap-up flashback?
I'm going to go ahead and start arranging the spa day by intercepting her emails for her normal appointment that she would have within the the next few days, I will spend a plot point to make sure she had something planned to begin with, if that works.
You don't need to. Just at this stage, we can roll it into the plot point that you spend for the flashback.
Very good. We will swap one of ours in, who's going to be the new masseuse.
Here's a question: Does taking part in his plan negate my flashback?
Did you have something else you wanted to do besides try and get her to confess?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, no, but he's going to be making the roll instead of
Okay.
you.
Okay, so yeah, that's fine.
All right. So that would be alertness D10, hacker D10, can you hear me now D8 for the wiretap.
Okay.
And what is my difficulty?
So here's the thing.
Hmm.
So your idea is to set up the spa day and try and get her to talk while you record her.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there anything else that you can use that might apply to, you know what, if you want to be the masseuse, you could go in as, well, no, she's seen you.
Jittery masseuse would be an interesting one, but yeah, let's avoid that. Also, I've got a D6 clumsiness going on still. Let's not bring that complication in.
The downside is I'd be great doing the safe, but it'd also be great as the masseuse because, again, forgettable face. I've been all over this place, and no one remembers who I am.
Well, yeah, hang on, though.
But
let me just work with Rasclin here. Okay, so you get someone. Well, okay, the mastermind could be the masseuse because no, she's seen the mastermind too. Darn it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you could say that one of the ones she hasn't seen is going to be the masseuse. It's just you won't be able to roll any of their skills.
Or
let me
it's
think.
this, or I bribe a masseuse that she doesn't know from the same spa to just record in the background and nudge her. But that would almost require a plot point and other roles.
Yeah.
Or plot point, hey, friend from the farm, you've got big strong
Well,
hands,
I
come
was
over
about
here.
to say, you do have a mastermind secondaries, so yeah, you paying someone off would be actually in character.
Yeah, okay, can I go ahead and do that?
Sure. Just trying to think if there's anything else you can roll. Like if you were going to do it yourself, then you could have rolled some of your own distinctions, but
So not going to work if I try this. Like, I've got the agility, but
all right, well go ahead and oh no, I need to make the roll. Let's see, what are we rolling against here? I'd say this is not anything to do with her. Oh, she's going to roll a d4 because of the pressure she's under. That's going to make her want a massage. And then okay, beat a 9. By the way, in the wrap-up flashbacks, ones just don't do anything. You don't get complications or anything.
okay. So just so I'm aware, I'm doing, or we're good. I have D10 for alertness, D10 hacker, D8. Can you hear me now?
Okay, and if you want to
Right.
use the free luck, that's also available.
Let's
I think
hold
we should
off.
hold on that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hold off on the free luck because I think someone
Okay.
else will need it. So that's
Well,
a 9.
do you have an extra plot point to bring in the other die?
I have an extra plot point to bring in random farmhand on Mastermind D8.
Perfect. In that case,
Rolling that D8.
Oh no, you don't need to roll a d8.
Oh, okay.
That plot point brings in your 2.
Oh, good. All right. Negate a plot point and cool.
which beats the total, so you win.
yes. So make
Right.
a note, Mastermind, that you have a d6 from Rasclin for the final wrap-up.
Okay.
So Rasclin, tell us what happens.
I intercepted her normal masseuse time, made certain that her normal masseuse was out of town, substituted a last-minute masseuse uh, with some basically fake payroll work to get him a lanyard to go in with security. He does the thing. He's got the thing I gave him to record. I made sure I got her a handsome one. Let her spill everything. She's under stress.
Okay.
And at the time, she is not in her office. Hey, thief, go!
Yes. So meanwhile, I'm gonna wear one of my other suits, use a different name, and I'm basically going to pose as just some random personal assistant that's there for the day. I'm gonna use the fingerprint to get into her office. I'm gonna use her fingerprint to get into her office, and then while nobody's in there, I am going to try to crack the safe that I'm assuming is behind whatever picture is in the office there.
Okay. Let's see. So her office there is a safe behind the picture.
Okay.
And you don't have to worry about the keypad because you have so I will not be rolling for the keypad.
Okay.
The safe is a good safe though, so
Okay.
that is going to add a little to the difficulty.
Can he use the security system specs D6 that we still have sitting there?
Yes, good idea.
Okay.
You only need to beat an 8.
Okay. So I'm gonna use the security system specs. And then this is a thief thing. I'm assuming this is either intelligence or agility because I am trying to get into a safe, which is there's a couple ways you can do that, but
Well, choose whichever one fits the approach you would take better.
I'm gonna go with intelligence because my method of doing it is I am clicking it one piece at a time and I'm listening for the mechanical sound in there for the pin disengaging when I hit the right number. And then
To
I
be
go the
honest,
other
I'd
way.
call that one alertness if that's how you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, crud. Okay. Well,
So
If
yeah,
you wanna
listening
use
for it would be alertness.
If you want to use
Agility
intelligence,
might be use.
if you want to use intelligence, if it's a particular make of safe that you're familiar with, you could know that it's got a trick dial with a certain
you know what?
combination that's always disables the pins.
That's actually good because there are certain safes that have backdoor systems in them in case the owner of the safe locks themselves out or forgets the their the passcode.
Yeah, and don't forget, Mastermind, you're in voice contact with all these people. You can also give them assets.
Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting for one of
Okay.
them to need an asset.
So I'm gonna go up by D10 because of the thief. I'm gonna go D10 because of the intelligence, and then a D6 because of the security asset. Yeah, and I don't think I have anything. You know what? Can I get a D8 for smartest guy in the room? Because I know because again I'm trying to double up on intelligence here. I'm really I know what I'm doing. This is a thing that I've done before, and I'm like I've got this.
Sure. And you're also using your forgettable face to get in the office.
Okay. So is that another D8 or just one D8?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
So I've got a
beat an
D6,
8.
2 D8s, and 2 D10s.
Just beat an 8 with those.
Damn.
Another 10.
Okay. That
I
being a
think you meant
19. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You find the safe. You find the you manage to get into it, and all the juicy details are there.
Okay. And then
It sounds like you didn't
because I
just find evidence of cooking the books. You found her like little black book. You found the evidence she's having an affair.
I take it all. And then on my way out, on my way out, I'm gonna pretend like I just exited the bathroom from somewhere, right? And if I see, and on my way out, just to flex, I see her personal assistant, walking down the
Marshall.
hall, Marshall, right? I see Marshall walking down the hall, and let's see. It's like, does Marshall like red sauce or green sauce? Because I'm a hot Latin lover, and there's both Rojas and green,
Are you just gonna slap his ass on the way out?
something like that.
Use your
You're
thief
getting a
to
new personal
reverse
assistant
pickpocket
now.
your
Good.
number into his pants.
Wow. Oh.
Just a flex on the end, just bam, there you go, and I just strut out the door.
All right, that's another D6 for the mastermind.
Woo!
Richard, take us home.
All right. Richard is going to go off books again.
So
And he
you'll
is
be rolling
going-
independent.
He is going to take the books from the clients, their actual books, and going to try and get access to the auditing company.
Okay.
So he's going to use his disguise. He's going to use a disguise to get in and compare what they were given with what actually is, to prove that the auditing company was not a patsy.
Okay. I like it.
So
So the hardest part of that for you is going to be selling them on your new identity.
okay.
I think, because everything after that is just, pointing out discrepancies.
Yeah. And like really what I would really like to do is basically point out what type of a financial grift this is.
Mm-hmm. All right, I will set your difficulty. Beat a 10.
Okay, so I get a D6 for independence. Fast book learning,
Wait,
I think.
no, you get a D8 for independence.
Oh, D8. Okay. D8 for independence. Fast book learning, because I have to read through both sets of books quickly to pick up all the information I can.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grift, so
Yeah.
it would be a D10. I would think it would be alertness, because I have to notice where
Yeah.
the problem is and stuff like that. So
Sure,
there's another
sure.
D10. And
You get an
then
extra D6 for the disguise, right? From your talent?
yeah, D6 from that. And if I also scrounge up some stuff from their garbage, I get another D6, I think, for signature asset. And I don't think this would count as a grift, even though I'm like identifying what grift she used, but that's up to you. I mean, I have to identify it and basically say, hey, this is how it works. So anybody that we're explaining it to later, it's like, as we're dropping this information, it's like, hey, here's how all of this works.
Well, the way I see it, if you're posing as somebody you're not, you're grifting.
Well, I mean, as far as the want to buy a watch, the scams, he's identifying the scam for anybody who
got it.
doesn't know what scam it is.
Got it.
I mean, at best, it would be a D6 because I am working against somebody who is savvy with who created the scam, because this passed any inspections that they found.
What the heck? Throw it in.
All right. So I need to beat a 10.
Yes.
All right.
All
16.
right.
God damn.
16, yes. That is a lot of dice.
Jesus.
And it's kind of too bad we can't play this in person, because it's so much fun when you're rolling a big big fistful of
I
dice.
feel like my flashback is just going to be that gif of Dave Chappelle with "Gotcha, bitch."
I was gonna say it's like, yeah, okay, so there's another D6 for you, Mastermind.
So yeah, I would say with an extraordinary success like that, you not only convince them, but they are so angry that they immediately drop Vertex as a client.
Nice.
And now, Mastermind. Now, the spotlight comes on you.
The hell do I even
You
need
have-
to do at this point?
Well, what you need to
get
do,
explain.
you need to
You've got to
narrate
explain.
how the group brings down the mark.
That is fun because I have several ways. That depends. Okay, I'm gonna ask them one question. Are we subtle, or are we fucking bombastic?
What
think
helps
we're
the lawsuit
bombastic.
more?
Bombastic.
So we're going
Alright.
we're going for the spectacle.
We
Going
have
for the
nailed her
spectacle.
3 different ways.
There are porn stars that don't get nailed this hard.
We have the video evidence to prove it.
Well, that's my point. Is we don't just have video evidence. We have what?
No, I meant with the porn stars, but go on.
Mm-hmm. And no. I'm trying to go through everything that I can just one by one by one by one lay on this table.
Yep, narrate her ignominious downfall. What happens to her?
Well, if we're going for a spectacle, I want to meet her face to face using that showrunner identity
Mm-hmm.
because I want her to squirm. And during the meeting, invite her out to lunch somewhere public, nice and open so that everybody can see. And just make her think it's just part of the meeting. I really want to talk about some points in the show that we didn't get to talk about, and I want to run the pilot episode by her. And so I'm gonna get her interested and get her hooked using that confidence in the charisma. And then as I start talking about this pilot, I'm gonna start talking about how it features a woman who thinks she found a really neat way to get in good with her bosses and get what she wants. But what she didn't realize is that she was sloppy. And as I talk, the tables around us, what she's not going to notice is that each table that is around us has her boss at Vertex, the CEO of that company, of the financial company that we were talking about, at least one of the people who helped her. So we're gonna have the people who need to know listening in.
Maybe the feds.
Yeah, we're gonna have the police there too. Feds, everybody. But we're gonna hold back. Hell, for the hell of it, I even invite Marshall. 'Cause why not?
Oh no! So Marshall's there, but remember, what was it? He, shit.
Marshall's
I-
there on a date with Carlos.
Yes.
So
It's just a very
as I'm going
awkward
with the plot, I pull out my briefcase and I start pulling out papers, and I'm like, it would be a shame if she said, if she decided to pull this grift on people and say she went to a financial company, let's say this company, and I put down the evidence of, the cookbooks.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it would be an absolute shame if after that she tried, pinning it on someone else in the company, some patsy, lay down a paper proving that. And then what would really be a shame, though, is if, we had all this we could use against her, but damn, even if we can prove that the books were cooked, we can't get the IP back because those hard drives are under locking. Oh, wait! As I lay out 6 hard drives. But even with all of this, how would we ever convince anybody? Because it's not like that financial company is just gonna take our word for, oh, wait, we have the falsified records. And then as I talk, and every time I say, oh, wait, one of the people from the tables is gonna step up. And slowly but surely, she's gonna realize, oh, shit. Eventually, but you know what would be the best way to end this episode is if, even with all this evidence and everything else, she still thinks she's going to get away with it. But what if her boss was there? So yeah, basically, I'm just going to make this as loud and drawn out as possible and really make her squirm.
Nice. Okay, this is where the showdown happens. So you are going to be rolling against all of her skills and assets that got her where she is. Let's see, which of her... What else?
Oh, I love the amount of dice that I can throw into this.
Now, is this whole thing going to be cumulative, or is it just that's still the 2 highest?
Still the 2 highest.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, and the 2 highest she can manage is a 13, so...
Okay.
With all those dice...
Well, let's see. What do distinctions get me again?
D8. You might as well use a D8. No reason to use a D4 at this stage.
Oh, I can use 3 D8s because confident. So I am.
Well, typically you only use one of your distinctions.
I know. I'm just deciding which one will be funniest. Because I can do this confidently and just be like, boom, boom, boom. I can do it fun-loving and really put on a show, or I can go with my favorite and do this entire thing deadpan and resting bitch face.
Oh, so you sound like what's his face, the guy who played what was it, Snape or whatever in Harry Potter?
Yeah, it's basically, do I want to be Columbo, or do I just want to be the Grim Reaper right now?
I gotta ask you one more
Columbo,
question.
just like the oh wait is the just one more thing.
Yeah, I was about to say the oh wait is basically the just one more thing. So
That's a good point.
We'll throw in a D8, and then I have 3 D6s from all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what's
Now,
your signature asset? Does that apply?
No, because I decided my signature asset would be a multi-band police scanner. So unless there's something funny about that.
Now, does the luck die? It just lasts for this one session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Using all of that.
Yeah,
goes
I'm
back to a
going to throw in
D6.
the luck dice. So what's the luck up to? Is it still a D12?
All you
D12.
have to do is tell me what the lucky circumstance is, and it's a D12. What is the lucky circumstance that you're making use of?
Oh, that would be the hard part if I've already set up all this.
You know what? I'm on a date with what's his face, right?
Oh, with Marshall?
Marshall, yes.
With Marshall. So before, as she's about to like try to make a comeback for the stuff you're saying, I interrupt her by slapping him in the ass so he makes this like really loud kind of noise or whatever at just the right time, and everyone looks over at him. and it just pulls the wind out of her sails.
I like it.
Yeah, all right. So there's a D12.
He's got Marshall.
All right, what else do I add to this?
That may be it.
All right, yeah, because I don't have
That's
to
still
add.
a lot of dice.
I don't have to add any of my talents or traits, do I?
If you can.
Only if they apply.
I don't think so. So that's just a D8, 3D6, and a D12.
That's all.
Wait,
Plus your
also your
mastermind.
mastermind and
Oh yeah,
your
true.
your role and your attribute. Don't
Oh,
forget
oh
those.
yeah.
Yeah, so I need that,
Definitely.
Mastermind and
I
attribute.
need that D10.
Mastermind and whichever attribute you want to use.
We're gonna go with agility, just because with the amount of sheer weights that I have to throw in here.
Okay.
All right, so if that's everything, let's roll this. Holy shit!
Oh my goodness.
Damn.
So, if you have a plot point, you
We
can bring
do.
in a third die.
Oh, I've got 3 plot points. I will happily bring in that third die.
Okay, because otherwise you'd have a 12. But with the third die there, which amusingly enough, the next highest die is the D12 from Free Luck. So apparently that little squeal from Marshall really made a difference.
Hey.
Heather Harper is she is finished in this business. She loses her job ignominiously, loses her reputation, is under investigation for multiple counts of fraud and extortion. You have successfully defeated your mark.
We have ruined her life.
I feel like that would have been the perfect if she had a patsy. Like she started to blame it on Marshall, and that's when we made him squeal. It's like, oh shit, Marshall's right there.
I have
So
a
the-
horrible
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I have a horrible idea for an ending montage.
Tell us.
We've helped the creators. We accidentally sell them on Farm Fresh Lederhosen.
It's their new project.
And then during the ending montage, we see Carlos and Marshall watching Space Vixens.
Yes.
Or no, you see, or watching Space Mixes, but we sell it, or even better, it says 6 months later, and it's the two of us watching, and it's the premiere episode of Farm Fresh later.
Maybe it starts with you and Carlos, or with Carlos and Marshall watching Space Vixens, and then it kind of, you see 6 months later and the screen kind of blurs, and you're on the same couch but wearing different clothes, and then you're watching Farm Fresh Lederhosen. So one last thing to do is to come up with a name for this job. That's kind of traditional. As you know, or as you may know, all of the Leverage episodes are the something job.
I mean,
First thing that came
Ooh.
to my mind was the bury the bitch job.
Or how about this? This is a little more poetic. The Farm Fresh and Hardcore job.
I like it.
The fresh squeezed.
And that's Leverage the RPG. Yay! That was a good one. Nice
That
going,
was.
guys.
It was a lot of fun.
I love how we have two
Sometimes-
thieves and none of us actually thieved anything.
I thieved one thing. I cracked a safe.
You thieved the hard
Okay,
drives.
yeah, I'll give you that one. Yeah, but our thief didn't thief the hard
The thief
drives.
didn't thief-
and you raided her safe.
But that's okay. The thief actually raided the safe, but the thief did more grifting than he did thieving.
And the grifter did
See,
absolutely no hitting.
Yeah, I was more just waiting to see if I needed to come up with something, you know, because if I'd got caught in that security outfit, it's like, hey, I can spin that I can spin that real easy. Whereas if our thief had got caught in there, the uniform wouldn't have helped him as much.
Though if I would have gotten caught, I would have probably hauled ass, burned, and I would have probably hauled ass, burned the one of many aliases I had, and then just snuck back in there another day in the hopes that nobody remembered who I was, and I just looked like just another dude walking on set.
One sec, laying all of back in.
Okay. Well, I mean, overall, you guys took pretty well to the self-directed nature of this game. Sometimes people who are used to more reactive types of gaming have some trouble getting started
Yeah.
with leverage. So,
I think
but
we
no,
had
you
an advantage because 3 of us have already played in RPGs with each other, and we're so used to yes-anding each other.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
And it
A lot of the
basically
time-
that was how that RP went. Was it was supposed to be like a collaborative effort, but then ultimately it was people were supposed to go to war with each other, but then the 3 of us were just constantly like yes and. It's like we already have an alliance. You guys go over there. We're gonna be over here.
Yeah. Well, and it was pretty good because one of us would come up with an idea, and then someone would be like, "Well, how about this to make the idea better?" And
Exactly.
then and we were just caught and pushing forward that way.
And there was a lot of people telling us, "Oh, well, we have a plan, and you're not gonna know about it." And I was like, "So the funny thing is, I already know all about your little plan because I have at least 3 people behind enemy lines that are feeding me information." And then that's the yes and.
So, but actually, I think that it's all worked. I think it went well.
This was fun.
Yeah.
I think we should do this again.
I'd be down
Great.
for it.
I mean, we can do
Well.
leverage again, or do you want to do like another RPG? See if we're as compatible in another system.
I
I'm
would
down for
say
anything.
I would say do 1 or 2 more stories with leverage, since we already have the characters. That way we don't have to create new characters and everything.
Yeah, that sounds good. And that way, like I said, Rask has been wanting to DM, so he and I can work on something, figure out what system and everything we'd want to use. And then yeah, we can we'll give you guys enough time to create characters and such if we decide another system. But I like the idea of doing 1 or 2 more series of leverage. Do we want to keep the same time and day?
I mean, it works for me. The only days I can't do it is I can't do it Monday, Thursday, and Saturdays because I run games on a couple of those days.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that,
Well, I
I
tell you guys what, if you want me to DM again or GM again, I be the fixer. I am up for it, but at this point, I should think about logging off because I do have work in the morning.
Yeah.
We can chat about it in the channel.
Yeah.
okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay. Well, it was fun. Great going, everybody. And I
Thanks for
think
running
I
the
will.
game.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I will sign off here. See you guys later.
And thank you
All
for
right.
coming around.
All right.
And now the portraits shift once again.
Well, and now it's the end of the night, so who cares?
Okay.
Well,
I'd originally thought maybe if we did this again, we'd want to do it on game night.
Well, either that, no. I don't. I don't want to take up Pirates of the Geek Vortex with it.
Yeah.
And I was one of the reasons why I was like, hey, maybe why I was all for Kayden taking over it was because it's less for me to do. I don't, I've already got 2 games that I live stream. Well, 3 games that I live stream plus the podcast. So I've already got 4 things that I'm dealing with as far as live streaming.
Fair.
Oh, okay. That's what happened there.
Oh, there we go.
All right, we're just gonna go to the stream start screen because I don't feel like screwing around with anything else tonight. But thank you guys for showing up, and that was a really fun game. I was actually worried that I wasn't going to be able to keep up because I haven't done tabletop a lot. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we did pretty good. We're good at bouncing off each other. Well, yeah, and that's kind of what was daunting to me is, you know, I've had you as a player, so I know that you're really good at, you know, being flexible and coming up with creative solutions to problems. And then Rask, we flex his tabletop prowess repeatedly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No, but we did slog it down a couple times because we were like, oh, well, we could do this or this or this. Or we had, we almost had choice paralysis.
Yeah.
But I do also like the fact that, you know, me and Rask were talking behind the scenes and we bounced off each other. Because that, the spilled coffee thing was just like right off the top of our heads. Alright, you have fun. I'm going to wind this down because, yeah, I'm getting kind of tired too. I gotta somebody gave me enough money to buy Krista, so I have enough to renew for a month, but I gotta decide if it's worth it or not. Alright, well, who wants to sign off next? I feel like that's your cue. I'm gonna have to add that to the description. I totally forgot about that tonight. Yes, we do. What's up? Yeah, we're also gonna have to come up with another name to call you other than just Gas. I know, I'll just call you Wayne Newton for right now. Well, how would you know what that looks like? I told them to delete those. Yeah, I think it's time for my outro. So thank you everybody for joining us and being part of this madness and this really fun heist. So don't forget to check us out on Pirates of the Geek Vortex Friday nights at 9:15 Central. Howling will be back whenever we have something to howl about, and with the current political climates and everything happening, probably going to happen sooner than later. I am trying to get all my videos and everything shot, edited, and done. I am waiting to see if I get a couple emails back from people I've contacted, see if I can go ahead with a couple things. If not, oh well. And other than that, go ahead, join the Discord. The link is in the description. Go ahead and follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram. If you really want, you can probably find us elsewhere, but I think those are the two major socials that we are posting to right now. And other than that, have fun, be chaotic, and don't do anything we wouldn't do, which really puts the bar low. Good night, everybody.